Live. I'm Sunny Star Blast, joined by great co-hosts King Crazy, Mofo,
How do you
and
do, fellow kids?
and Dracon 2K.
What's up? You'll never see it coming.
Jesus.
See, mine was fine. His was worse.
he has he does it every time we talk about this, though.
Yes.
But the
So
way he
it's
said,
expected.
it's like, hi, you'll never see it coming. Like,
But yes, today we're going to be talking about the Shin Megami Tensei series. Um, that includes all of the mainline games and all of the I guess offshoots, including the Persona series.
Yes.
good, evil, and people, little kids, just like you.
I'm pretty sure there are no kids who were listening to this.
Well, kids adjacent.
Yeah. So okay. So the Shin Megami Tensei series is a series that started with Megami Tensei, I believe,
Yes.
in
That was the original.
the 80s, I think.
I don't
I
know the exact dates, but it's been a while.
Let's find out. Yep, 1987.
Starting as Kyoyaku Megami Tensei, or Old Testament.
Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei. That was the original story. That was the original name.
Yep, September 11th, 1987,
Yep.
for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or in Japan known as Famicom, because it was
Also,
never
apparently on
released here.
PC. I was surprised. It's actually a PC release for 97, 87 as well. Wow.
Oh yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, there was. So yeah, there you go. Um, I've of course never played it because I'm sure there are fan translations
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it,
yeah. This is
but
completely fully each fan translated already. I've seen
of
someone
course.
play it through the original Mega 10 1 and 2 fully.
So yes, of course. A few years later, there was a Shin Megami Tensei, which was released in 92 at some point, which is where we'll probably start talking about. In general, these games have uh, an alignment system where you either go a route of law or of chaos or of neutrality. The law system would be, I guess, you're siding with angels and the heavenly host, or capital G God.
No, not capital G God.
Whoa,
Yahweh.
be
Yes,
quote.
The
Yahweh.
exact name is
Yes,
Yahweh,
Yahweh. Yes, you're
Well,
right.
not even that. It's like YHVH, and it's
which
pronounced like
is
That's
the
that's
pew.
Yahweh. That's
no,
Yahweh.
that's the abbreviation for Yahweh.
That's Yahweh, dude.
That's literally
Yeah,
how Yahweh is
yeah.
spelled.
But when they say it in the game, it's like pew.
Do
But
we?
it's like no. I'm dead serious. It's like you see them say it in the game. It's like they never say Yahweh. They just say like just pew, like some weird like some weird sound effect because you can't just say it apparently.
Fair enough.
Wow,
But
didn't realize that, but yeah.
I've never heard that, but fair enough.
Which
It's in
game said it like that?
it's for Apocalypse.
Ah, that's probably why I
Okay.
never heard it. I never played Full
Oh,
Apocalypse.
I know why. I know why. It's fully voice acted, and it's voice acted by well, the version that I played was voice acted in English. So most companies prefer to stay away from saying uh God's name in vain, so to speak. And in a game
Right.
like Shin Megami Tensei, where 90% of the time you're going to fight both um, Yahweh and Lucifer, it's probably best to not say the whole name. Um, so
People would get upset.
yeah, of course. I mean, I'm surprised that this series has gone so long without like a massive controversy, but at the same time, it's not extremely well known to the point where it would be a massive controversy, like say Pokemon, because there was a massive controversy with that. But anyway, um, like I was saying, there are three routes: law, chaos, and neutral. Law would be the route you would take if you're following the heavenly host. Chaos would be the route you would take if you're following the demons, as well as um,
Freedom,
somewhat freedom, more like survival of the fittest.
which is freedom, basically freedom
Yeah,
to do whatever you want.
freedom to do, yeah. And the
It's
third route,
like
yes, go ahead.
right, right. It's like the law route. It's like giving up your freedom for, I guess, safety. Like
An order. Basically, you have a set
right,
structure. You follow one thing, and everyone is saved in quotation marks.
Correct.
like even being saved from yourselves, basically. But the chaos route, it's freedom, but it's like Dragon was saying, it's survival of the fittest. Anybody could die at any time, live life to the fullest, as for as long as you hopefully can before
Yep.
something kills you. And
Right.
neutrality is pretty much what we have right now.
It
Neutrality is
And
basically you fight for humans, don't give a damn about the other sides, and that's really how neutrality tends to go.
usually, if you take the neutral route, you are basically telling both sides to suck an egg,
Yeah.
and both sides will become enraged, and you will most likely have to fight both sides, which is fine. Oh, there's a thunderstorm happening. Cool.
Unless you're playing a certain fourth game where they don't tell you that a decision near to the middle of the game forces you into one of the paths if you were following the neutral path too close. F you that game. Excuse my language. I'm still pissed out about that.
So, what Dracon was referring to was Shin Megami Tensei 4, in which the point system is very vague and they don't tell you what you're doing based on the choices you make. I mean, you might know, but they're basically balancing out your choices, and if you make too many of one choice, you can eventually be locked in at a specific point in
Yes.
story.
And right before the lock-in point, there's one decision that gives you a massive amount of points in either law or chaos. And if you were following the neutral path, like if you were neutral at that point, you will never stay neutral because that point will guarantee you get kicked out of the neutral route. So you literally have to be on law or chaos, but close to the neutral arc, and then take the opposite pick there to then be forced into neutral. But there's nothing in that game to tell you to do that, which is why I got pissed off because I was doing neutral, and then suddenly, bam, I'm kicked into chaos route because I have to pick one of these. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm still salty about that.
No, it's fine. It's completely okay to be salty about it, because I was going for neutral, and I by luck managed to stay neutral. Didn't know how I did it, but I decided not killing someone was a good idea, and I decided that doing something bad and idea was a good idea. Also, the sound alerts are off, so
Yes.
tr- trying trying to activate your air horn would do nothing, because I don't have the overlay for that on this screen.
my evil scheme's been foiled. Screw you. I'm
But
going to chaos
it's
route.
fine.
Freedom.
We'll take a break for Stream Raiders.
No, we're not doing that. But this stream was brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. No, I'm kidding.
If you want to sacrifice your life to a soulless company, play Raid Shadow Legends. Now with extra soul sucking goodness.
You know what's funny? I there there there's a sponsorship opportunity that was made to me by Raid Shadow Legends, and but I'm like, you gotta
And
you gotta
let me
stream for
guess.
4 hours and then stream. Raid Shadow Legends for at least 2 hours, and then get a certain amount of people to like join up with your specific link. So, that's off topic, but I just
Yeah,
found that
no.
funny.
They spam everyone. They basically spam every streamer they possibly can, and then how much they pay you out depends on how popular you are. So like the very popular people get like much higher payouts from Raid than people who are low, have less stream people. Yep. They,
But
they,
yeah,
they,
You know,
anyway.
but you know who always has people? NordVPN. Have you ever wanted to just?
Stop it.
Never mind.
Stop
Forget
it.
it.
hey, funny enough, I do use NordVPN, so it's hilarious.
I actually use ExpressVPN, but anyway.
The only reason I use Nord is
Surfshark.
because I had the chart which also shows like which of these VPNs are under the 13 eyes and all those other unfortunate government companies that they have to give their data to. Nord thankfully doesn't have to give their data to any of those countries, so that's one of the reasons I picked Nord.
You know, I feel like we've gone way off topic.
That's okay.
Yes,
This
we
is a
have.
podcast. We can talk about whatever. But
It's
anyway,
fine, but you talk about VPN. Oh well, you gotta protect yourself against these digital viruses. Like yeah, there's some really bad ones, especially in Digital Devil Saga.
I was just about to bring that up.
Segways. Boom.
But yeah, speaking of Digital Devil Saga, that came out around the same time as Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne.
Yes.
And they of course have they have the same animation style as, you know. So strangely, it it's not the same as the main line Shin Megami Tensei, because instead of summoning monsters, it's more like you're the monster.
Uh
And instead of say you still fight the demons, like you still see them, like Jack Frost and Pixie and all of them. Instead of summoning them, you fight them yourself. You have a human form and a demon form, and fight them. And if you get to a certain point, you can devour them, eat them. It's wild, fun, but it's
so
wild.
basically it's a combination of Nocturne and other SMT games where you play as a human. Because Nocturne you do play as a demon. That's literally what
Yes,
what you are as Demi Fiend. You are a
yes,
demon.
yes. You can turn into demon and turn back into a human, depending on how you feel. You have weaknesses and all of that. You can't use the magic if you're not a demon, but you can use a gun if you're human. So
Mm.
it's like a give and take.
So okay, so in that case, then it's definitely a combination of Nocturne's protagonist and Strange Journey's protagonist, because as Strange Journey, you use a gun the entire time when you have the demons fighting for you, and Nocturne, you punch demons because you're a demon yourself.
Yes.
Mm.
And I guess we should talk about Jack Frost a little bit, right?
Yes, our mascot of the whole Mega 10 franchise.
He is
Yes.
the Pikachu
Yeah.
of this entire series.
Since you brought up the fact that Jack Frost is the Pikachu of the series, it would be bad of me to not say that Shin Megami Tensei has been likened to Pokemon in a way, but
Gotta catch 'em
for
all.
sort of, but like for more mature audiences, because of course people are dying. There's more morality struggles, and most of the time it takes place during an apocalypse.
Most. I thought almost every time it takes place an apocalypse.
In mainline, every time.
Yeah.
Um, in 4, not necessarily.
Well, four is post-apocalypse.
Yes,
Literally, the world.
4
Sorry.
is after the apocalypse.
Well, no. To be fair, one is also the same thing because the nukes drop in original Mega 10, and then you're basically post-nuke, which technically means post-apocalypse as
Isn't it
well.
right after the nuke though?
Yeah, it's right after the nuke. Yes.
Yeah, and in 4 it's kind of a few years after, and
Yeah, correct. You're correct. But the world is still pretty messed up.
right. But also it's got some weird time vortex thing going on.
Mm.
It like on in the samurai area, time passes super fast, somewhat. Like
Yeah.
in the regular world, only like 20 years or so have passed. In the samurai world, it's been like 1,000 years or so.
I suspect. Yeah, it's most likely because of different areas, time flows differently.
Yeah,
Yada yada yada.
yeah. But anyway, so Jack Frost.
So if you want to outlive your friends who are samurais, go to the real world, spend a year, come back. They may all be dead.
It's true.
Okay.
Right, because basically the plot is after that whole apocalypse thing, a guy named Akira decided he wanted to climb some tower or whatever. Oh wait, no, there was a dome that covered Tokyo and only Tokyo. Because
Yeah.
the Japanese people are God's chosen in this game. And after all, oh wait, no, Masakado's chosen, and the people who and it covers Tokyo like a rock dome or something. And one guy climbs to the top, establishes a kingdom, puts some monsters on the way back down so nobody decides to go back down to the crappy earth, and he establishes a massive kingdom that has that flourishes over 1,000 years. And then people are like, "Oh well, we're kind of tired of this, so we're just going to explore what's going on." And they do, and they find out that there's a whole other world in the bottom of theirs. And if you go the neutral route, you open up the dome, and everybody finds out that there's a planet, whole planet that they haven't been paying attention to
Yes.
because
Wait,
everyone's dead.
under
Also, I
wait,
will say this though. SMT4 has had the weirdest angel designs of any of the games in my view. Good God, the angels in that game were weirdly designed, like the four archangels.
They're weird looking, but to be fair, I think that's closer to how they're described in the Bible.
Of course.
Like angels aren't supposed to look like super cute, feminine, winged creatures. Some of them are as tall as skyscrapers, have 5 faces, one of which being a lion and some such like that.
I'm seeing one, Merkaba. Feels like a dragon
Oh,
for a tail.
Merkaba, that's so one of your companions is, if you remember Strange Journey, it's similar to that. One of your companions goes the law route, and another of your companions goes the chaos
Chaos
route.
route.
The companion that goes the law route fuses, I believe. I think he fuses with some angels, or he just kind of gets turned into an archangel called Merkaba, and it's really weird. While Walter, the chaos guy, I think fuses with Satan. I don't remember, but he basically they all basically just become really weird.
Yeah.
Looking it up, and Walter volunteers to be absorbed by Lucifer, only become Lucifer's engorged, pulsating left arm. And it gets worse in Lucifer's second form, where Walter becomes a grotesque, fetus-like creature still attached to Lucifer's left arm.
Yep, it's gross. It's very very gross.
That's
On the
basically how SMT 4 is. Yep.
on the plus side, he was voiced by Matthew Mercer.
It doesn't matter to me.
Hooray!
Pretty sure didn't he voice Kanji in Persona 4 or Golden or something? He voiced them in one of those two.
So voiced Yusuke in 5.
Okay. Okay, that's fair.
He voices a lot of people.
Yeah, he does. He voices yeah, we're not getting into it. Anyway, we were supposed to talk about how Jack Frost is the mascot of the series and how he appears in every single Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah.
How do we keep veering off from that?
But yeah, so like I just said, Jack Frost is the mascot of Atlas,
Yep, that no
and
one ever was.
yeah, and shows up in every single Shin Megami Tensei. If you
And
can find,
spin-off game.
yep, if you can
And
find one without Jack Frost, I would be very surprised.
Hmm. Not to mention, a lot of times
maybe the
the
first one.
Jack Frost tends to come in groups. So it's like you usually have Jack Frost talk about other Jack Frosts. Not every game, of course, but some of the games they usually like a whole bunch of them.
Right. In general, there are many. Of course, if you encounter a Jack Frost, you will likely get very annoyed because its catchphrase is he ho, and it cannot go a sentence without adding a he or a ho with every single sentence.
I mean, is that worse than having every sentence end with Barry or have bear puns or in the Japanese version Kuma, aka Persona 4? I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I know. Teddy.
And
Teddy or Kuma in the Japanese version. He's
in the Japanese version, every sentence ended with Kuma.
I mean,
Literally
yeah,
every
I
sentence.
know, I know, and they decided in English to just make it bear puns, and I mean, he didn't have a bear pun in every sentence, but there were enough bear puns that he got
He
annoying.
calls his power a bear sona.
Yep. To be fair, he turns a giant shadow bear into a fat creature with a missile.
I mean, we'll talk about how personae form, but yeah, I get it. But Jack Frost in general is one of many Frost or Jack family in this, and Frost family too.
Let's just say, yeah. He's part of Jack and part of Frost, and technically they are joint but separate because for like the Jacks you have like Pyro Jack, Jack the Ripper. For the Frost you have Black Frost, King Frost, but
Frost
he's
Ace,
Frost Ace, but he's the one that's in between both of them. He's Jack and he's a Frost.
right? So he's pretty much the linchpin of the Jacks and the Frosts. And I personally like Black Frost because I did mention that I wanted to tell you why on the stream, so I guess I'll get into it now. Jack Frost is cool. He's of course an ice creature, so of course he has a weakness to fire. Black Frost has no such weakness. In fact, he can learn both ice and fire magic. Cool. That's not a pun, I swear. But I don't know. I just think the story behind Black Frost is also pretty cool because it's like Jack Frost that has encountered all of this negativity has decided to internalize it and become black. I guess I don't that's pretty bad, but you know, it's an interesting backstory for a creature that I didn't even expect to see. Um, King Frost is cool too. Racon mentioned that he likes King Frost, so
Yes, because King Frost has this whole bunch of Jack Frost right below it. It's like it's the king of them all.
to be fair, King Frost. So yeah, it also learns the strongest ice moves in most of
Yeah, well,
its appearances.
it's just full on ice.
Yeah, it's full ice. So you know, you can't really get um
Also, King Frost has like two different forms. It has one form where it's standing on top of a whole bunch of Jack Frost, and it has another form where it looks like it's in this like sealed like armor style robe.
right,
It's just so interesting how it has like two distinct different forms. But the one thing which doesn't change is the scepter in its hand and the poofy like wig that
mhm,
royalty always likes to wear.
right. I think okay. So when you mentioned Demi Kids, that's the first time I saw King Frost. So that was the armor thing. I
Yeah.
guess the whatever it's encased in. That's the first encounter I've seen. I know that there's the older design where it's basically sitting on a
A
bunch
bunch of
of,
Jack Freshers.
yeah,
Yep.
which is cool. I don't have any issues with that. I think it's cool. But I don't know. I think because of the Demi Kids thing, I'm more used to the armor guy. Um, I guess we can discuss our favorites in the series, or
Sure. I'll start with. I'll let King Crazy start off.
okay, King Crazy, go for it.
Let me see my favorites in the series. Mm, probably Odin, only because it comes with his own crazy electric move. Like when you're at like the top level of the Emperor
Favorite
Arcana,
game.
a favorite game. Shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I thought we were talking summons.
No, no,
Nah,
favorite
Whatever.
game.
Okay. I want to say Persona 3, only because with the stakes there, you kind of feel it more. Like,
Good old Knicks.
yes, that's
right.
fair.
And like it's like when shit got bad, shit got like real bad. Like it's like people died for fuck's sake, and not like maybe they get like no, maybe they got out. No, they fucking died. And then it's like, okay, the moon wants to kill us.
Yeah. So Persona
Fuck.
3 was that out of the post Persona 2 games. Persona 3 has the darkest villain of the three of them. I can definitely agree to that. The fact that Nyx brings about death. There's nothing. If Nyx returns to Earth, everything dies. That's literally what was
Right.
discussed.
The protagonist couldn't actually kill Nyx. You cannot kill death. You can't.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Unless it's Marvel.
Yeah.
we're not getting into that. But yes, we're yes, they couldn't kill Nyx. So the only way, and massive spoilers for Persona 3, obviously. They're going to be massive spoilers for everything we talk about.
Yes.
So,
Actually, honestly, there's one moment that I can say cemented Persona 3 as like my favorite,
okay.
and it's not even me that had the moment. Like this is a story I heard years ago, but there was this person playing the final boss of the game. Like they'd gone through all this stuff. It was a whole thing. And the thing about the final boss of Persona 3 is that they have like 13 forms of ascending difficulty. It's like one doesn't even try to hit you. Well, sorry, the first one doesn't even try to hit you, but after a while, it just gets harder and harder because it's based on whatever. But then the final form, where it's full Death Arcana, is a final boss in and of itself. So
Yep.
after all the shit, it's the real fight. He is in a hair's breadth of winning until the final boss does the charm status
Yep.
to
Oh
Yukari,
Yep.
no.
and Yukari fully heals that form of Nyx. This man put down the controller, turned off the game, and just never touched it again
Oh
because
no, he got lucky. That if that's what happened, I got a worse version of that. Um, Spoilers for Persona 3. Make sure when you go to the final boss that your main character is charm proof. If you are not, you're gonna have a bad time. Because Persona 3 is that game where you cannot control your allies.
Correct.
So
right,
I ended up getting charmed in the second or third form. And because I didn't have that, my whole party died in 2 turns because my character couldn't do crap and I couldn't control anyone else. It was a party wipe.
Oof. Yes, when your
Yeah,
yeah,
protagonist dies, it's a full party wipe in every Persona game post 2.
yeah, yeah, your main character, which is why in 4 and 5, to help you survive a little bit longer, once you have a high enough social link with your protagonist, they will sacrifice themselves to save him.
They don't do that in 5. Only 4.
They do. No, they do it in 5 as well.
Do they?
Yeah,
I don't
in
but
think
you have to
Royal.
earn it.
Yeah, you have to earn it. Basically, they will sacrifice themselves
Oh,
as well in 5
I
to prevent you from dying.
so I've only really gotten marginally far in Royal, but in regular 5 it was stupid easy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
So
Royal is
I've
even
I've
easier.
okay,
Oh,
so
funny
I've
enough,
never
and
gotten to the point where it was like, oh, boom, kill, dead.
Trust me, I never either. I only watched someone play it and I saw it happen. I was like, wait, they do that in 5? I was like, yep, they do.
oh yeah, and Persona 5 Strikers, your protagonist can die, and you can
Yes.
keep going
Well, I mean,
for
Strikers
once.
is Dynasty Warriors style, so it's a
Yeah,
bit different.
Yeah,
Like literally, like you get hurt so easily in that game. If they made it that you had to survive, you would lose that game too fast.
yeah,
right. So Persona 3, essentially, because King Crazy said it's his favorite, the final boss, Nyx, is a is a primordial being. You can't kill it, and
Yeah.
the only way to prevent the total destruction of humanity is for the protagonist to seal it away
Yes.
at the cost of his own or her own soul.
right. They were saying that after your whole journey, and no, this is regardless of. Actually, I think it's regardless of whether you actually completed the social links with everybody. That
Yeah.
all
This ain't no sweet coding. Once it starts, the destiny ain't gonna save you from death.
Yeah,
right. So you can, you meet up with your guy in the chair, Igor. He'll tell you that you unlocked the universe arcana.
World Arcana.
it's the world. Universe is 4.
No,
Wait. No, it's universe in 3 and world in
world.
4.
Oh, it's Universe in 3.
Yeah,
Okay, it's World Arcana in 4 and 5.
Yeah,
right. So you go up. So the elevator that the Velvet Room has been on this entire time, the Velvet Room where you fuse your personas and do other stuff, it finally gets to a destination after all this time, which happens to be the moon. Which is like, okay, that was the longest elevator ride, but sure. You go in there, you try to hit death, which does nothing, of course. You get blasted over and over again, but spirit bomb physics. Everybody's giving you your energy, including that one dead friend of yours, because sure,
he was
throw him
watching from the
away.
afterlife. What you mean?
Yeah. And then you go up to a roof and you pass away. And that's the end until they have a whole spin-off game for that.
Well,
Not really a
it's
spin-off
not a
game. It's in
spinoff. It's a continuation,
Well,
it's literally right
yeah, continue.
after. It's
and
episode I guess basically.
yes, that's what
Yeah.
it's called. Well, in Japan, anyway. But the reason why they have that episode is not to bring the protagonist back. Protagonist is dead. He's gone. The point of that whole episode is for the party to um come to terms with
He's not
it.
like right. He's not like quote like gone. It's like they know where he is. They just have no way of getting him out.
He,
But they
he
want to
his soul has departed from his body,
right.
Yeah.
and his
Ba-
body is being used or his soul is being used as a lock on the door of Nyx.
yes,
Yeah.
because
As
basically
it turns
it's
out,
sorry, good.
oh no, yeah, because I was gonna say that as it turns out, Nyx was never the problem. It was humanity's collective urge to die that was the problem, and that became the final boss of FES. They beat that, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do better in our own lives, and we're gonna what's the word? We're gonna live to our fullest to lessen the burden. Which okay, like 8-ish less people. That's helpful. But what I find funny about that in the fighting games, you find out that Elizabeth, the attendant for the Velvet Room, has been routinely going up there, destroying that final boss again, just one hit, and then just going, huh, I should find a way to get him out, but that's fine. And then she goes to the fighting tournament.
It's not that
Well,
she's trying to find a way to get it, that she says it's fine. It's more like she's searching
it-
for a method that will keep the door locked so he can have his life again.
Yeah,
because
she's
Right.
literally trying to save him, which is why in Persona 4 you basically have her sister Margaret be like, "Oh, I'm here because Elizabeth disappeared." Try and she doesn't know where Elizabeth is.
right, mostly they, I guess the attendants do whatever they want, and Igor is like, all right, whatever, dude.
Yeah. Although one thing which I do say I liked three more than four and five four is the fact that three was humanity created this problem and so it's humanity that has to solve it.
Yeah, that
Right.
was a good idea. Um, I think.
So
Go ahead.
because four and five is more of four is like, hey, I'm just a salty god that just wants to mess with people. And my name's not Loki apparent, but I basically act like Loki in this. And then the fifth one is I'm basically just the subconscious of all this stuff, but I'm like a demon anyway. I want to control everything.
Right. So, um, something to point out is that Persona 3 was considered the darkest of the Persona series. By the way, the Persona series is an extremely light series compared to the rest of Shin Megami Tensei.
Hell yes, because
Yeah.
one common trope about SMT is that the protagonist does not get a happy ending.
No.
It is only Persona 4 is the first game where the protagonist, if I remember correctly, has gotten a happy, straight up, hey, everything's great ending. Because even in Devil Survivor, even if you get the best ending in Devil Survivor, you actually get a message from God saying, hey, yeah, you didn't defeat me. But you know what? Good
It's
job. I'm going to keep watching.
yeah, he's basically like, I'm gonna keep watching you. If you mess up,
I'll be
we
back.
we throwing hands again, bro.
So literally, it's like not even that version of the game gives you a happy ending. You
Wait,
get
hold
an
up. Oh,
ending where
which
it's
game you
like
said?
this is Devil Survivor 1.
There
Okay.
there are about 7 or 8 endings. Overclocked has an eighth ending or an eighth
Yes.
day or something, but there are like multiple endings depending on the route you choose. Some
Yeah,
are law, some are chaos, and some are neutral.
basically
Right,
the
right.
key neutral route is that you have defeated the demons, you defeated God in the final battle. And then you're thinking, okay, humanity's free from both God and the demons. And then suddenly you get a message on your phone from God saying, hey, good job. But if you'll mess up again, I'm coming back. So you're like, well, crap, you're not strong enough to even defeat God. He just let you think you won.
And that's not even that's the best ending. The worst ending is that you basically, instead of fighting, you leave. You just leave the area because in general the story is everybody in a specific area in Japan are trapped in that area and they have 7 days to fix an issue or they're going to be destroyed, like completely obliterated by the government, by the angels who are manipulating the government, and all of that. So instead of fighting to the last day, you can leave a day before, and when you leave, you see that everything else has been destroyed. Everything.
Hmm.
And that's pretty much the
Also,
consequence of their actions leaving.
one more thing about the Devil Survivor franchise, and I do say one of the good things about it is that that game gives you the most amount of side characters that you can have in your team compared to the other games because there is no possible route to get every single side character on your side. It is guaranteed that some of them will die, depending on which route.
Um, some, I mean, I don't think it's guaranteed that they'll die, but it's not guaranteed that they'll be on your team.
Yeah, but in the if they're on your team, eventually you have to fight them because their ideas go against yours, and by defeating them, you do kill them.
Yes, but I think the only time, if even in the best route, the only time you would have to fight a side character is when you're fighting Naoya, the cousin who basically started the whole issue, and that's
Hmm.
the only character who would die of, of the side characters. But there
And
are also issues. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead. I'll talk about the one I was going to discuss after.
There are a ton of story elements where you can. So in the story, basically, there are warnings for what's going to happen throughout the day, and if you don't intervene in certain things, a character who's established, who could possibly join your team, will die.
Yes.
So like there's a point where there's a character named Keisuke who is very justice driven.
Yeah, you're fine to let him die. I have no problems with that.
He basically he hates bullies and he becomes a bully hunter essentially. So he just goes around judging people guilty or innocent, and his judgment essentially for guilty is death. So he goes around and he kills a bunch of people who are part of a gang of another character, Kaido. Of an Kaido is another character who is kind of a chaotic character, but not necessarily evil. He does what has to be done, and his demon is if you don't intervene, you can find them fighting, and you'll find out that Kaido kills Keisuke, which is interesting and kind of messed up, but it's kind of his just desserts.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't mind.
But there's also a time where you can gain a character that you didn't even know you could get, like Black Frost.
Yes.
Like Black Frost will one of your characters, Midori, will um protect a demon from angry humans.
Protect a Jack Frost,
Yes,
and
he'll
then that
protect the
Jack
Jack
Frost
Frost,
comes back evolved into a Black Frost later on.
and he becomes the Black Frost hero of love and justice. No joke.
Yes,
No
that's
joke.
literally his motto. And actually, you can influence him again because he can choose to kill humans, and you can tell him, "No, you shouldn't do that," and he also gets influenced. Or you can tell him, "Sure, it's fine, kill the humans."
Right. He's that's one character that I liked, and that's part of the reason why I like Black Frost so much. First of all,
Yeah.
that a Jack Frost can evolve into a Black Frost, and I say evolve because I'm so used to Pokemon, but in general
Well,
they
no, no, no.
metamorphose into them.
In the SMT games, evolution does happen. Not only them, there are some other cases. Like if you remember,
Pixie and High Pixie.
High Pixie, yeah, Pixie High Pixie as well. So it is possible for evolution to occur for some of the demons.
In fact, actually, in Nocturne, if you keep the first Pixie that you get and you don't fuse her away or anything, she'll evolve into a High Pixie. And if you get that High Pixie to like level 30, I think, which is kind of difficult because you're supposed to fuse away. The general idea of these games is that you get demons and you eventually fuse them away. But if you hold on to this pixie like you're a Pokemon trainer, this pixie will evolve into a high pixie and then subsequently again evolve into a super pixie. I think that's the name. I forget.
I guess it's an Easter egg for them saying, "Hey, good job, you kept your Pikachu till the end."
Something like that. Yeah. But
Let me
yeah.
look that up because I've never heard of a super pixie.
It's an
Of
Easter
course.
egg specifically for that game, just to reward you for actually taking care of a because like even in Persona, you don't ever keep your base level Persona. You fuse that away early as possible.
That is very true. Like even actually even in Strikers, where for the gameplay mechanics, you can keep the first persona you get. You just keep looking at all these better personas that you have. You look at him and it's like, dude, like it looks cool, but this thing fucking sucks.
See, the only game of the Personas where you can keep the original one and it's still very powerful at the end is Persona 4 Golden, and that's only if you keep feeding it up with the stat bonus cards and all of the
Right.
stuff. It becomes just like this broken beast of a
I think you
base.
can do that in P3 portable.
I don't know a portal, but I know Golden gives it to you much easier because almost every battle when you end, you get the card system for that. Plus, it keeps stacking the better you do against each thing, so it becomes like this broken mess of a win system.
Hmm.
Man, I remember watching someone do that challenge where you basically only play from the beginning to end with Izanagi, and that was what he's abused to make Izanagi this broken powerhouse that can fight the final boss.
I
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
well, actually, real quick. Pixie can evolve into High Pixie through leveling up in SMC3, and then it evolves into Queen Mob.
There, Queen Mob. There we
Queen
go.
Mob. But also there is a super pixie. The first
Oh,
pixie, so the first demon Demi-Fiend I'm reading from the wiki. The first demon that Demi-Fiend recruits is a pixie who wants to
yeah.
get out of the hospital and go to Yoyogi Park. She'll help the Demi-Fiend out in getting the card needed to get out. After arriving one one end of Yoyogi Park, she'll try to part ways with the Demi-Fiend, but if they tell her they need her, she'll stay with them. In Nocturne Maniacs, or yeah, whatever, if the Demi-Fiend takes Pixie or one of her descendants to a certain area of the fifth Kalpa, she'll turn into a level 80 Super Pixie. That's what I was talking about. Holy crap!
Damn.
Yeah.
Level 80 Super Pixie. Well, that must be the most broken Pixie ever. Oh man, that Pixie gives Titania a run for her money.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But still a Pixie, just level 80.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Hey, that's an achievement, man. That Pixie's stronger than most of like the final forms of most of the classes.
do you know how hard it is to even get a Pixie to level 20?
In Nocturne, it's pretty hard compared to some of the other games.
And since we spoke about King Crazy's favorite, we speak about yours, Crack on
Well, I've mentioned this before. My favorite is still Strange Journey.
Range
Okay,
Journey.
specifically Strange Journey Redux because the Redux ending just makes the game so much better. Although original Strange Journey is also pretty damn good. So to give you the premise of Strange Journey, humanity, there's this thing called Schwarzwell or whatever the hell it is. Basically,
Schwarzwelt.
yeah. So basically, there is these giant domes of light that are forming in the Arctic and Antarctic, and they are slowly spreading outward. Or is it just the Arctic only? Wherever it was, and it's slowly spreading outwards in size. And humanity doesn't know what it is. So they basically built this team to go inside and investigate what is going on. So eventually, you go inside and all hell breaks loose because it ends up being five ships that go inside.
Was it
And
5 or was it 3?
was it three? I thought it
I
was
think
five.
I think it was 3
No,
because
because you have to encounter multiple ones on different areas. Or am I mistaken? I have to look it up. What does the wiki say?
it's
I'm
definitely
pretty
3.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 3, and then
More came in
but then other
after,
people show up. Yeah.
Okay,
like
yeah,
Jack's
three.
team.
So yeah, so basically, your ship is the only one that lands intact. The other two ships are one gets wrecked somewhere and eaten by a certain piggy,
Horkos.
Porcos, and then the other one I forgot where it landed, but that other one got messed up even worse than the one that got eaten.
It landed in the same sector as the one that survived it. That survived the crash. I think it was the blue jet that
Mm.
I recently started playing Redux. So
Uh, Yes, yeah, right, and that's where you basically got some of the materials to fix your own. You're correct.
right.
Yes.
Real
Um,
quick, it's actually 4 teams.
it was right. It was four teams that went in, and then there was a fifth team that was a separate team that came in just to farm in there for resources.
Right, Jack's team.
Jack's team, which is basically they went there to experiment and get special resources to use in the real world. So basically, just going back to the point. So basically, you find out that this thing is a natural phenomenon that will always happen, where humanity reaches a point where they have destroyed the world so bad that the world's response is to open the world of demons to come over and wipe out humanity and cleanse the world hold and then eventually they will go back into the void where they return and life will start over again.
Yep.
So You have multiple routes in this game, like all the others: the lore, neutral, chaos route, and more or less, the characters in this game are very interesting. Where just like the other games, you two of your team members, one of them, I forgot her name, becomes in
Zelenin or something
Zelenin.
like, yeah.
She basically gets brainwashed into following the law side so much
Not
that
really brainwashed. It was like she's freaking out all these demons, but here's a quote literal angel telling her a better option. Again,
that
quote,
Was it
and
Mastema?
it's the one on the right side
mess.
of the image we have here, the one in Imastema. Yep.
Yeah.
The one in the mask, he's the one who's talking to her. Yes.
Yeah, and and it's like I don't know if they mentioned it, but like I think her upbringing was more like religious.
Yes,
So
she's just religious.
she wanted no part of the demons, but by then you have a few angels on your side too. So it's like I think we're so I think it's like the same difference, but whatever. But yeah, she becomes Holy Zelen or whatever it was called,
Yeah, she
and
literally
she
has the power of breaking people and making them serve God
Yes.
with her voice.
yes
And then the other character on the left side, Jimenez,
Jimenez.
Jimenez, I
yeah
say Jimenez all the time, same thing.
Me too.
He encounters this very childlike demon called Bugaboo, which is the
Yes.
red one you see there, and he forms this very strong connection with it. And eventually, later down the line, spoilers, Jack's team captures Bugaboo. Jimenez breaks in to rescue Bugaboo. He gets captured, and they experiment on him and Bugaboo, and ended up fusing them into one character.
Yep.
So
actually
he,
well
Wait, do they
almost
experiment on them or does he
yeah,
fuse
they
willingly?
no,
do
they were
well they
experimenting
do, but then
on Bugaboo, and Bugaboo was dying. And I believe Jimenez gets fused with Bugaboo, and that's
yeah
how he.
uh, actually I'm trying to remember if it was you like if he asks you to do it or if he does it himself, but the fusing part was voluntary because
Yes,
he
Oh
that's
yeah,
wanted
what
to
I
right.
was
save
Fusion
thinking.
Bugaboo's
was
life.
voluntary. You're correct. Yes, but yes, because Bugaboo was dying. That's what it was. They experimented on Bugaboo.
Yeah, and he actually loved Bugaboo so much that he was like, nah, I gotta fuse with him.
Yeah,
And that's how he became a fusion of a demon and a human and was like,
yeah,
hey man, chaos all the way.
yeah.
I mean, he was
So
already chaotic in the beginning, but go ahead.
So at one point
Yeah,
on your team, when you were all still striving for humanity before they both left, you had Super Zelenin, who has the word of God. You have Jimenez, who's now part demon. And then you have the third character in the back, oh my gosh, Gore, who
Commander Gore.
died
yes,
earlier and gets possessed by one of the spirits. I forget the exact name that is called,
I'll look it up.
who
I'm
are
looking it up. He returns from the dead as an Ubergestalt, which is a
Ubergestalt. There
form
we go.
of let's see
But it's
who.
basically one of the demon like spirit things taking over his body, and so he becomes more than. So basically, long story short, all three of your sidekicks there, well, two sidekicks plus your commander, all get turned into various versions of angel, demon, enlightened. I'll just say it like that. I don't remember
Enlightened
the
human.
exact
He was
enlightened
essentially for humanity. So
for humanity. So, and just like the other
And
games, sorry, go
oh,
ahead.
and oh, sorry, just to point this out, before he died, there was a demon that was attacking the ship, but he was like fighting him single handedly and almost won before the guy cheated,
Yes,
which was a little insane.
basically in this game, you are the only character who has successfully defeated demons
yeah,
in terms of by yourself on screen. Because technically, off screen, Zelenin and Jimenez probably also defeated other creatures themselves because they when they have their agendas aligned to their law chaos route, they basically act as generals doing specific things. So they would have also fought and won themselves. But that's only after getting powered up. You are the only legit human without any powers to kill demons.
he is essentially, or well, yeah, he is essentially the trailblazer for killing demons.
Yeah. So basically, so eventually, if you choose a neutral route, you fight this character called Memhalef, who is the mother of all demons. She's the one who's birthed all the various other major creatures you fought throughout the whole game, and you fight her. And if you've done the neutral route, it means you've killed Zelen and you've killed him, and so Law and Chaos no longer becomes a thing, and you fight and defeat her. The ending is that you go back and you basically, in quotation marks, save humanity. Now, when in Redux, this person in the top, the person in the red outfit, you find out she has come back from the future to stop you from defeating Memalef this way because you didn't save humanity. Basically, humanity just gets complacent with you um uh, with you winning, and they go back to their old ways, and another Schwarzwald opens up, and the whole demonic invasion happens all over again. Except this time, there's no one to stop it, and all of humanity gets destroyed.
Holy
So
crap.
that's the reason why she comes back from the future to stop you from beating the game how you did, because you didn't do it the right way. So here's where Redux's plot comes in. So okay, I don't know if I want to go into this because
It's okay. It's okay. Go into it.
okay. So
Yeah, go for it.
eventually you find out, because in everything, our spoilers is she is your daughter from the future.
Ah.
What?
She is your daughter from the future, and she came back to kill you to stop this from happening. Because the future of humanity is very bad. So she came back to actually stop you, and over the time she realizes that she was making a mistake. It's not that she had to stop to kill you to stop it. She had to make you find a better way in order to save humanity. So the better way is that instead of just beating Memalef and stopping the thing, you now have to find these seed-like things, which are like the very big power essences of the demon world. And eventually you have to find them all, and then you consume them. And you literally become something similar to Gore, where you are now this being that is all powerful. And you fight this new final boss. And after beating it, you now become the Doom Marine. You survive on the moon with the CPU from the ship, and every hundred or thousand of years or so, whenever humanity descends into their decadent ways and the demon thing opens back up, you go back to Earth by yourself, kill everything, close it off, and repeat the process over and over and over again as a Doomer.
Gee.
So that's how you save humanity. Because humanity cannot be saved, you literally have to be its protector for forever, and you just basically stay on the moon, wait it out, wait for it to open back up again, go back, defeat it, go back to the moon, and you have this one AI with you the entire time, and all its entire purpose is to wake you up as you be dozing off and say the next thing is opened up, and you go back and fight it again, and that's how you end Strange Journey Redux.
That's the wait. That's the best ending.
That's the neutral best ending. You cannot get a different ending for Lower Case Route. You
Yeah, it
will
would have to be the same, wouldn't it?
it'll be the same as base SMT ending. And then if you choose not to do what she tells you to do, then you get the regular base Stranger in the ending as well, where things repeat. But basically, this game just basically tells you that humanity is just naturally a mix of light and dark. But eventually, they get so bad that this is the world's response that will always happen over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm looking this up, and it's saying that New Girl Alex is the she's the daughter of the female Lucifer form and a Japanese
Daughter
male.
female Lucifer? No, that's in. Hold on, let me check it out. Am I mistaken with who her who her parentage is? I could have
Well,
sworn that.
well, you could still be right that it's your character's daughter, but that'd be like kind of crazy, like that. Like this girl might be like the daughter of Lucifer and you.
To be fair, Lucifer has shown up in almost every game as either a man or a woman
Right.
or a
And I'm
child.
looking into the You're right.
Oh,
I'm looking
there
at the
is three
little.
new endings. My mistake. I didn't realize there were new endings. Oh, yeah, yeah, you're correct. Being Lucifer's daughter, you're correct. Okay, my bad. Then I
Yeah,
must have mistaken her. And who's the parent? Who's the father? Okay, I guess she's just from just for only.
well, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm looking through the TV tropes, and it's not saying her father, so it could still be you, but I'm not sure. But anyway, in the Law Plus route, to please with Zalanin to save her life from the world of law, reawakening Zalanin's self-belief and personal ideal to save all of humanity instead of the selective salvation the angels were advocating for.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And the
that's correct.
chaos,
Yes, you're correct. Yeah, I messed up here. Yes, you're correct. The mother is Louisa Ferrer. Yes, that's how they put it in.
right? And the chaos plus route, she asks Jimenez if he should have condemned Bugaboo for being weak instead of saving it, exposing the personal cost and loneliness of his social Darwinism.
Yeah,
And
she's
that's
just
what
trying
leads
to
to
change.
the
She's just trying to change the future of humanity for her mom. That's what it was. You're correct.
right.
Although I do admit, though, I do love how her demonica looks on her. It's pretty damn cool. All right, okay. I forgot to mention one of the demonica is that suit that you see them wear. Like if you look at it, the suit is just like this red mask. It's so cool, red and black mask. Yeah. If you look on like the wiki
Oh,
for it, like pick the demonica option, you see like the mask on. It's pretty damn cool.
like Lilith in 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, four took the mask design from Strange Journey, but that's the only thing that's linked from Strange Journey to four. Nothing else really is. It's not none of the plot of Strange Journey actually rolls over into four.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They had demonicas in those apocalypse scenarios in 4, I believe, before the nukes went off.
But yeah, but basically,
They were, yeah.
long story short, you become Doomarine, which is like one of the best endings, or well, worst slash best endings that you can have.
Hmm. Okay, that's cool. Um, I
Okay,
know.
so
Yeah, I
so
know.
let's move on to you, Sonny. What was your favorite SMT slash Persona game?
It's really hard to determine, honestly. I like 3, Persona 3, for a bunch of reasons, but I can't pinpoint one that I like the most, and of the series in general. I like 3 because of how it essentially has a theme of death, but I also like 4 for its slice of life thing, Personas, by the way, and 5 is okay. Um,
I personally, if we were to go story wise, I prefer I do three, five, then four. I found four had the weakest story out of all of them.
yeah, I do think that 4 had a weaker story, mostly because it's you're kind of pushed into it by Yosuke.
Oh right, I forgot Stranger News had like one of the best characters ever. Here we go.
Who's the best character?
Here we go.
You-
Demony Ho. It's so
oh
good.
my gosh. It is a Jack Frost and a Demonica. That's all he is. It's like
Yep.
level 75 or something.
Oh man, I remember this character. I love this character so much.
I saw the name somewhere, but wow.
Yeah, Demoniho or
It's
Demoniho.
basically Jack Frost with his own mini demonica. And hey, the quotation from SMT4: rumor has he participates in operations all over the world and has a legendary 100% mission completion rate. He originally donned the demonica because he admired it, but after long hard training, he emerged as the perfect soldier. He may look like the cute Jack Frost everyone knows and loves, but underestimate him and he'll make you laugh or cry. Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Riveting. Truly riveting.
I do like what they do with the Jack Frost character because even though it's kind of like one of those things that they know is going to be annoying, they
What the
still
hell?
what
Sorry, I was just looking up. I was like, why is there something called lemon frost?
time to look it up. Oh,
Apparently,
that's in Demi Kids.
yeah, Eclairmon apparently in Demikit, so Ice Claymon. Well, its official name is Lemon Frost.
Yeah. So I can tell you my favorite series now. Well, some of my favorite games. So Demi Kids, Light and Dark. I haven't played them in a while, but you know they're essentially Shin Megami Tensei for kids.
How dark are they? And hello, Zafi.
Hey Zafi.
Good, buddy.
So essentially, it's been a while since I've played them because they were games for the Game Boy Advance.
I never even heard of that, and I had GBA emulator.
Oh yeah, check it out. I actually, your homework is to play Demi Kids either light or dark
I'm good.
by
I
the
don't
end
want
of the
to
year.
install emulators on my system anymore. I'm good.
All right, no problem. So
I can't.
essentially, okay, I'll tell you exactly what's going on with Demi Kids, light and dark. I remember playing light, but essentially there are a few kids, Jin, Akira, and I forget the girl's name, but they like weird stuff. Um, Lena is the girl's name. I'm looking it up now, and she finds a book, and they kind of get sucked into another world. In light version,
Digimon?
it's sort of like Digimon and Pokemon because you get a partner. You get a partner monster that isn't in any other game in the Shin Megami Tensei series.
Okay.
So Jin is in light version. He's the protagonist of the light version, and dark version protagonist is Akira. There's a lot of time travel involved. So Jin gets a soul cat named Rand, and Akira gets a he gets like this lizard thing that I forget the name of.
Lizardmon.
I'm gonna look it up right now. Uh, Gale, it's a rocks. It's basically it looks like a Digimon. It looks like Vmon but darker with claws. But yeah, so essentially, both kids. Um, Jin's story is law, and of course, Akira's is the chaos route. There's no neutral route, and they both essentially play both sides of the fence as characters. So essentially, you meet Lucifer, you'll have to fight Lucifer. You'll be able to. It's not as dark as the original series, which is why it was released for the Game Boy Advance. But there is some death, and it can get a little depressing, but mostly because you're playing as a kid and a whole bunch of stuff happens and there's time shenanigans, and your partner, the cat or the lizard, will evolve, and they have branching evolutions like Digimon, and I think that's why I liked the series so much when I first played it, because I like Shin Megami Tensei already, but I also liked obviously you guys know me, so I love Pokemon. So it gave me a little bit of both, where I could like say summon Jack Frost and maybe kill Lucifer with it, or but I can also have this cat that turns into a big cat.
It's
And
okay. It's the only reason I like Final Fantasy 13 too, the Pokemon mechanics. So I could
jeez.
relate.
But yeah. So it's it's a it's a fun game. If you ever feel like trying something for the GBA, I would suggest playing that because it
I
came out
mean,
before Nocturne.
oh wow, that's. But then again, GBA was that old. That makes sense. I mean, I don't think I'll go back to it. Hell, I'm not even picking up Nocturne again now that it's re-released. I'll pass.
I'll wait for. I already have Nocturne on my PS3, so I think I should get the re-release. But I want to play
The
five.
the one
From
which
what
I'm
I
hoping that
heard,
they re-release is Rido, and I hope they improve some of the jankiness of Rido in it.
I think we should talk about Rido now.
right? Actually, before that, just real quick, from what I heard, the Nocturne remake, it's okay, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it's worth paying full price, $60 for it.
Of course not, because it's just a port. They didn't really do much with it.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's pretty much it. Like it's okay, but it's not like what they did with FF7 remake, where they just changed the entire game and make a whole new
Well,
experience.
FF7 remake is a pre-sequel or a C prequel.
It's weird. Just
It's
let's just move on.
basically it's just to clarify why I say that. It's because the new Final Fantasy VII game is basically Sephiroth coming from the future back to the
Actually, hold
past.
up, Sonny, did you finish it?
no, but I don't care about spoilers for it. I know the
Oh
dang
crap!
story.
Yeah, Sonny, did you finish 7?
No, not yet. I don't care about it that much.
Hello, Sonny.
You're muted.
Shoot,
He's
sorry
muted.
about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty
Right.
sure the stream heard me say this, but you guys didn't. So I didn't finish it. I don't care about it. And y'all can
Okay.
talk about it, so I don't care.
So just very quickly, basically, what happens in 7 is that Sephiroth from the future, whether he actually physically transported himself or just his memories was transported back to the past, has more or less given his past self or himself, whichever, they haven't really clarified which version it is yet, the knowledge of the future where certain events happen that prevents him from winning. And so he is trying to change things in the past to ensure that his what he wants to happen does happen, that he wins and Genova comes back.
Right,
So
but surprise, Aerith did the same thing because the entire game you have the weird sense that she knows more than she's telling.
I really don't think Aerith did the same thing. I think it's more like the world is telling Aerith that these things are not supposed to happen this way because she has that very big connection to the world, the
Aren't
live stream.
like is
Because
aren't those ghost things like part of the live stream or something?
no, those ghost things are basically arbiters of fate. They are meant to ensure
That
the
everything
timeline
happens as
happens
it happens.
as it happens. They're the
Uh,
arbiters of
Okay.
fate.
Continuity
And
creeps, as they're
so
called.
basically what they that's why throughout that entire game they started to appear at certain moments where the timeline was diverging because of Sephiroth's interference, and they've forced certain things to happen as it did to ensure the timeline goes as similar as it does. Unfortunately, the timeline is officially broken as of the end of the first game because certain characters which should have been dead survived. Like Wedge survives. Is it Wedge or Biggs? Who's the bigger one? I think it's Wedge, right?
Wedge is the thick boy.
Yes, he survives.
No, no,
He
he
was supposed
doesn't.
to.
He,
No, he does.
he was thrown,
All
he
right,
was
we're
thrown out
not
a
going.
window.
All right, don't argue about it. We're not gonna go into it. We already talking too much about it.
No, he does survive. Remember at the end
Oh
of
my god.
7, they actually show that he's actually alive.
That's Biggs.
Oh, okay.
Skinny
So
one.
Biggs is no Skinny one is
Yeah.
dead, isn't he?
All right,
No, skinny one is
all right,
alive.
all right, all
You're
right,
right.
all
Yes,
right.
No,
you're right.
no,
Correct.
Yo,
Yes,
Sonny,
yo.
I mix it up. I
No,
mix it up.
we
Sonny.
don't.
Yes,
No,
yes, yes.
because people who want to watch this don't want spoilers. Probably don't
Okay,
want
sorry.
spoilers for seven.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
You just say
go
you didn't
back.
care.
I don't
You're
care
supposed
for
to say
me,
it.
but at the same time, I'm looking at the time stamp so I can tell people when to listen and when not to listen
Okay,
for
no problem. So
spoiler
okay, so
reasons.
skipping back to Shin Megami Tensei itself.
Right,
Um, yeah, so there are some things which all the series deal with, like the various creatures, demons that you summon or persona in the persona games or whatever else they're called. They're basically based on mythology in most cases.
right.
So mythological. gods, demons, angels, all of those stuff are the features that you're able to summon in that game. Which where depending on the game itself, they're all classified into various or classes or arcana, depending on whether it's persona. So like you have like fiend, like you have like tyrant, you have this. So they all have their own classifications, and so they each have a ranking system where this is the weakest in it, this is the strongest in it, and depending on the game, sometimes the strongest ones actually come out as their own bosses. Sometimes it's like you'll fight the strongest of this one class eventually in the game itself. So I do enjoy the fact that this game helps teach you some mythology as well.
Right.
Right. Um, well, well, I agree with you there. One of the things that I like about the series is that it's like there are moments where it all comes down to your decisions. Like
Oh yes.
you, the player, are an active participant in the story. So it's not like completely linear. Like there are moments where, like even in the more upbeat games, they have this one moment where it's like you have to make a choice. And okay, for recent games, the choice is pretty obvious. Like, yeah, I don't agree with this monster thing. I would want to stop you, obviously. But then there are, let's see, it was Persona 2. I'm trying to remember, who it was, but you pretty much decide if certain people in this particular moment of the game live or die. Like, like either you inspire this one person or she grabs a person, jumps off a building, and kills themselves. It's it's a messy moment.
So definitely I agree with you, and I think Devil Survivor personifies that concept of choice so well. As Sonny said before, you can choose to not even touch, not even save someone, and when their day timer counts down to zero, you actually can see their death as to what happens to them. So yes, I definitely agree with you. That's one of the more enjoyable things of the games, and Devil Survivor personifies that so much.
Yes.
Right. But the weird thing, Persona 2 again has like this weird idea that okay, like all the characters are kind of being just like puppet mastered. It's just that the bad guy for those two games is being more active in trying to destroy everything, but the good god or whatever, he is like not actively involved at all. Like he'll like he might pull you into a place, give you some encouragement, and then throw you back out there,
You mean
but he won't
Philemon?
actually. Yes, but he won't like do anything. But it
I
raises
mean,
the question: did he know that he didn't have to do anything, or like were your choices in the game really your choices, or did he just kind of like move you around and just let you do what he was gonna have you do anyway?
well, the concept of free will in those games also are blurred depending on the game itself. I do agree with you. Some games do the free will concept better than others. Some of them you were literally following a path along that you just realize that the boss the whole time knew that you were going to follow that path.
Right, like what you were saying about Devil Survivor and Yahweh, and how he just kind of just let you win.
Yeah,
Like,
because yeah, you're correct. He was like, yeah, I knew that this was a route that you could have, and this was a possibility, and this is what happened. But hey, if you mess up, I'm coming back.
Mm-hmm.
right, I think
Oh,
what they could do later in the Persona series, and honestly, they might never do this, and that's fine. If they have Filemon actually do something, and that's like proof positive that this is serious, this is a problem. If he's stepping onto the field,
I don't think they will. I will say this
I know,
though. Out of all the various spin-offs and stuff, Persona is the most linear. Where there is, well, Persona 3 to 5 at least is the most linear, where there is a defined ending. There is no potential lore, chaos, neutral route ending splits. It's really just this ending or the bad ending because you chose to not do something.
The first
right.
three Persona games are like that too.
Oh,
They're,
they
they
are okay. So
for the
so
most part
Persona.
they have a defined ending. There isn't really a law or chaos or anything. You have a defined final boss. You know what the actual goal is, and it's basically the same. It's a game between Yarthalep and
Oh, sorry.
Philemon.
Oh yeah, you might as well call him Gnarly because like you see his name, like no one knows how to pronounce it. It's Neoliathotep,
Yeah, I don't.
Ba-
Yeah,
Basic,
and
basically,
butchered it.
basically, old war between the old one and something else.
it's a fight between a god and a demon, basically. And
Well,
when you see, go ahead.
Niall is not really a demon though. That's literally
He's
an outer
a little bit
god.
worse than that, but
Yeah,
That's an outer
I
god.
know. But here's the thing. So every time you see a blue butterfly, you're supposed to assume that that's Philemon
yeah,
because
Wait,
yes, and
wait. So does that mean that your sidekick in sorry, not sidekick that Igor's attendant in Persona 5 was Philemon?
um, not necessarily. Is essentially Philemon allowing the attendant to speak to you through him. So anytime you
Mm,
see a blue butterfly, assume that it is him or his power that is helping you.
understood.
like,
Did you finish
like basically,
Royal yet or no?
Not royal,
I did.
but original, vanilla.
Okay. So then I don't want to spoil much from Royal then, since I know you haven't beaten it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
can say that essentially in five it is um vanilla five. It is um basically anything that has to do with the Velvet Room. That's Philemon. He created Igor, and Igor created the attendants.
all right,
Understood. I would say this though. Royal introduces two concepts which would probably go over into a future game. I assume if they ever do another Persona, which I believe they will, Persona 6 or something. I didn't finish Strikers, so I don't know what Strikers ending was. I'm not even going to go into Strikers.
Strikers is
Um,
more of a side story, isn't it?
yes, but it is, but they put a lot of interesting concepts in there. It's like strikers will ask questions to the protagonists that they really never thought of. Like it
funny
actually like
enough,
really
very good.
like there's one character who should have been the final boss. Like his goals directly goes against the Phantom Thieves. Like it's like this dude would have been perfect as like the definitive big bad, but they didn't go that route. But at the same time, like honestly, finish the game. You'll see them. It's pretty interesting. Like it's like they hit the fans with two kinds of people that they never considered.
Interesting. I'll definitely have to finish Strikers then, but I do recommend also finishing Royal. Royal, in my view, has a more satisfying final boss than what base Persona 5 had. That's how I felt it.
Yes,
Hmm. Okay.
That is definitely something I think Royal did better. I do wish that Royal did fix more of what's her face the last character you can recruit in your team.
it's her.
Fluffy
Like
hair.
they didn't do much to make her more meaningful than
Right.
because I mean, definitely the problem with her in the base game was that you got her so late that you basically only had her for like one or two dungeons to really flesh her out, and then
Right.
final ending shenanigans happen. And Royal didn't do much to fix that either. Sure, they introduced a bit earlier where you see her once or twice, but I mean, it still didn't really affect her overall thing. I will say this though. One of the best changes I do love with Royal is the redone boss battles
Right.
where they incorporate more of the boss's theme into the battles, which they didn't have in the original because the original they felt more like just basic boss battles against like a strong boss.
Yeah.
Now they incorporate some of the themes of what that boss was known for, and it feels a bit more interesting. Of course, except people have hit or miss for um is it Haru was her name?
Haru Akumura.
Whatever the rich girl was name.
Haru. Yeah.
Yeah, Haru.
Haru, yes. Although I will say people do I hear more people hate how they redid Haru's dungeon. Well, the boss at least. Getting to the boss has been much better. God, Haru's dungeon, the original Persona 5 was a slog.
Oh my
Now
gosh.
Yep.
they removed a
And
bunch of
actually,
slogging.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Strikers does a little more with her. Like it's not too much, but it's enough where I'm like, okay, we'll take it. After 3 games, we'll take this.
Oh, I don't want to have to go through 3 games just to be more interested in the character. That sounds like that they did something wrong.
No, it's a tiny thing, but it, no, because it's like for a group of quote unquote thieves, and everybody having like a specific job or whatever, they give her kind of one, and at this point, it's like it's fine.
All I will say this though, I think you guys, I don't know if you might agree with me or not, and I'm forgetting his name now. Who is the first character you meet in Persona 5 again? The
Ryuji,
first ally. Ryuji's his name?
yes,
Ryuji. Yeah.
Right. Ryuji is the cause of most of the problems in Persona 5 because he can't shut his mouth.
True. True.
yeah.
We're the Phantom Thieves.
Like, shut the
It's like,
hell
will you
up,
shut the
man!
fuck up?
Shut up! That's all you had to do. You just had to keep quiet. You just couldn't keep your mouth shut, and so much problems could have been saved if he kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of Yosuke in Persona 4, where the first time you're about to go in, he's like, "Hey, I got weapons," in public.
Oh my gosh! When he pulls out the weapons and starts like he's brandishing the weapons and swinging them, and a police officer passes by and like, come on, dude, come on.
Yep. And I think that's what made 3 like the best story wise out of them. The fact that Sets was like this defined organization. They had a set plan. They weren't just like a group of people who just suddenly came together randomly. They were all there because of their specific gifts and they had a set goal. And I think that's why I enjoyed P3 more than 4 and 5.
It's mostly because one, the rich kids company basically pulled all of.
Mitsuru and
Mitsuru.
the
I know her
creature.
name. I just call her the rich kid
What are
because.
you talking about? That's not her name. Her name is Marin Karen.
So for anybody who doesn't know, in Persona 3, there's a mechanic besides the fact that can't control your party members. When Mitsuru joins your party, she doesn't use any damaging spells for half of the time and decides to use the charm spell, Man and
Which
Karen,
misses so many
and
times.
it misses, or it just doesn't affect the enemy. And it's not like she doesn't know what she's doing. It's just that the AI is saying, "Hey, let's charm the foe."
So bad. So basically, I remember on the final boss of Nyx, she tried to use Marin Karen on Nyx. I'm just like, really? Really?
And I guess
I'd
it's
use Mitsuru to
fair.
that final boss.
It's fair because the AI in the game knows that all that most enemies are actually susceptible to statuses.
Basically, by a certain point in the game, every boss character is immune to Marin Karen.
Yeah,
So why would you try to use Marin Karen on the final boss?
that's the only status spell that I think I hate because it doesn't really work on a majority of foes.
No, it's the same thing with Hama and Mudo. That's the whole reason why I
But
stopped
Hama and
using
Mudo aren't really status spells; they just
but
kill
they're
you.
insta kills. They're
Yeah,
insta kills. But
Yeah,
like by halfway through as well, every boss is immune to. Well, technically, every boss is already immune to insta kills, but most enemies become immune to Hamamudo by a certain point as well, or they have high resistance on it. So it's like, why use a Hamamudo skill? It's just a waste of time.
yeah. I don't
exactly.
particularly care for those kinds of things anyway because it's a gamble.
Yep.
It
So that's why
Right.
I kept stop using Komaru and Ken because they had the Hamamudo skills. I'm just like,
right,
why? You're wasting a turn using Hamamudo.
and
It's
essentially you can
funny
do
that
better with Akihiko or Junpei because they're basically the same character.
Yep. So,
yeah,
sorry, King Chris, you were saying something. Go ahead.
it's funny that um, Ken and Dog, damn it,
Koromaru.
Komaru.
was it? Yeah, Komamoru, they get put together into one character in the fighting games
Yes.
because variety, I guess.
Also, not to mention Ken's a kid. Are you really going to put him up to fight people?
He was a teenager by then, but
That's still a kid, my dude.
whatever.
Compared
But
to like robots that can fight adults.
Yeah,
Okay,
everybody
but
there was old
actually,
enough to like grab at it.
right, but actually before the stream, because you had asked, just to get this out of the way before our next part of the discussion, how the Persona games are like one universe ish. Because let's see, Persona One, there was a group, I forget the name, the Kanoji group, and their final boss, well, one of the final boss, he was going to use this girl, hook up to a machine. He's going to make some weird, crazy dream world. He's going to be a god. But they were like, but he's like, you're just really lonely. And he was like, Marg! And then he just tries to kill you. But then you stop him, save the girl, and everything's fine. And then some of those characters show up in Persona 2. So that's connected. And then in Persona 2, everything goes tits up. And your main and your lead female gets stabbed by the spear of Longinus, so she's like dead. And in order to and because saving her was the point of the game, like literally like okay, stopping the third battalion Nazis from taking over the world and whatever, that was part of that was like the point at the time, but the whole game was literally about saving this one lady, and then she dies, thus fulfilling a crazy prophecy. And then Filemon was like, your wills can actually rewrite this whole thing. All you have to do is sacrifice your friendship to each other. So they
So,
do.
wait, quick question here. So we're
Yeah,
basically doing Peter Parker, Mary Jane plot here.
This was done
sure.
before that happened, though.
Okay, thank God. But still,
Persona 2 came out in 1999.
that's true, yes. And then that Spider Man arc happened close in the 2000s. You're correct.
Yeah.
Right. So they do that, and then but then your main protagonist, who now can talk, is like, I don't want to do this. And then the new timeline gets weird. But this new timeline is where Persona, Persona 2 Eternal Punishment and the rest of the games happen. Like, this is the new timeline, and so 3, 4, and 5 happen, and all the other spin-offs for those games. And at the same time, protagonist from the first Persona 2 is now possessing his body from this current timeline. So he knows everything and has asked to stop Gnarly from trying to destroy everything again. Stuff happens. They beat him, save the girl. He goes back to either not existing or an old dimension or whatever. And then the Kanoji group, some of them join the Korijo group in 3. So
Okay. So
there you
basically,
go.
Kimoji Group is at fault. Okay, so now here's the question then. Gnarly versus Nyx, who wins?
Gnarly.
Doesn't matter. We all lose.
We all lose. There you go. Okay, so I have another question then, and this one probably a bit easier. Worst final boss
Worst final boss.
in terms of the Persona games. I mean, it doesn't have to be based on this combat only. It could also be based on plot of the game as well. Worst final boss.
The Führer.
Which one was that one?
That was Persona
Oh,
2 Innocence Sin. He wasn't. I don't think he was the final boss.
he wasn't the final boss. It was okay. Just to quickly recap, in Persona and Innocent Sin, there was something happening that was causing rumors to come true, and over time, you find ways to counter those rumors and yada yada. And it was a whole thing. But the big rumor that happened was that the Führer, Hitler, he was hiding out for all these years and building his forces again underneath the sea that they're all in, Samaru City. And then, right after they find that out, kaboom, here's Zeppelins all over the place and mechs with swastikas on them. And now we have what's apparently going to be the Third Reich, and led by the Fuhrer. And then they fight him, and he has the Spear of Longinus, and his persona, Neil Yathotep. But then the big reveal, that was never the Fuhrer. It was Gnarly himself, who had been orchestrating everything, and then he turns into a fused version of all of the protagonist's fathers.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, It's a thing.
It's gross.
It's a thing.
I can
It's
top that one. I can definitely call one worse than that. Izanami,
uh,
no, Izanami. Plain and simple, Izanami in P4.
Oh, the
It
final boss,
final
final boss.
boss, final boss, because she appears twice. First as this random gas station attendant, and then, oh yeah, you found me. Now final boss time. I'm like, what?
That's only if you go like in Persona 4. I don't know why they did it like that, but they're like, hey, you want to go to that gas station and talk to that person? You can completely ignore this if you make certain choices. Like you have to make the right choices to even get to this point, or you screwed up and the fog still comes back.
Yes, but the whole point is that that is the true final boss of the game, and the purpose of it is that the only points you ever find out about her is that at the start when you get the powers from her, and then you get some hints from Itachi when he tells you how he got his powers, and then randomly at the end, oh hey, you found me. What?
Yep.
no. It's more like, hey, are you still on the summer job? And you just keep talking to her. It's like, hey, could you like leave me alone, please? And then she starts cackling. It's like, haha, you've revealed my scheme. And it's like,
What scheme?
did I?
And that's why I say P4 has the worst final boss. It's like
Well,
the,
I go ahead. I'm
it's
sorry.
like she comes out of the blue. It's like I understand that she was set up at the start because of all this happening, but like there was really like very few hints of her through the story. I'm not talking Golden here. I'm talking base P4
Mm-hmm.
because I know Golden adds more plot that fleshes her out a bit more with the new character that you have. But base P4 I'm talking here, where it's just like so out of left field that she's suddenly like, haha, I'm the final boss. Come fight me there. It's because you have my husband in as your persona. We are bound to fight each other.
Yep.
It
Honestly, I would say, like, okay, yeah, that's okay. That was actually like really out of left field, and you have to like wait until what Adachi like tells you about how he randomly shook the hand of a gas station attendant. And you have to be like, well, that's weird. That happened to me. But whatever. Um, I would say the worst for me was the follow-up of Strikers. I but to avoid spoilers, I won't tell you why. But but after playing the other versions of Persona 5, fight the final boss, you'll see why.
well,
Mm.
you know what? To be fair, Persona 5 has my second worst final boss, so I'm not surprised. Okay, let me. I'm not talking
Mm.
Persona 5 Royal. I'm talking Persona 5 because he also came out of left field as well.
It was weird. It's easy
Because
to
he,
talk about this one because essentially you're just the game forces you to go into Mementos and go to the bottom, and then you
yep,
find out it's a giant cup. It's the
yep.
goblet of fire. No joke.
No, it's the Holy Grail. It's
Yeah, I
basically
know.
Fate Stay Night. It's Fate Stay Night. It's a corrupted Grail. That's all it is.
Yep. And then it starts laughing at you, and you're like, what? And turns out Igor just, I don't know, wants you dead. And it's like, Igor, baby, what is this shit? What's
Well,
going
we
on?
all knew it was fake Igor the moment he heard the voice. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone who's played the previous Persona game knew that was that. Everyone knew that wasn't Igor.
Well, here's the
Right,
thing.
right,
When it was first announced, or when they first did the trailer, and you heard Igor's voice, and it was like, "Welcome to my velvet," and everybody's like, "Hold up, why they change the voice? He's either
Yep.
evil, or it's not like because such
right.
a
It was
drastic change in voice is a weird thing."
Yeah, it's because the voice change was so obvious. Everyone who's played the previous Persona game was like, "Yeah, no, that's not Igor."
actually, well, I guess not a big deal. I mean, when you actually find the real Igor and you hear his voice, and it's still a different voice actor from the other games.
But
Yeah,
that
So
but
it's
he's
like it's yeah, I know, but still, it's like it wasn't like like he was acting like really weird, so I was like suspicious. But I didn't think it was like all this.
the
So
line.
it wasn't
Go
like
ahead. I think it was the line. Welcome to my velvet. that
Right.
initially raised alarms in a lot of people's heads, because when Igor, in general, when Igor says "Welcome to the Velvet Room," he says "Welcome to the Velvet Room." This is a place between dream and reality, mind and matter, blah blah blah. Igor,
Yeah.
evil Igor, immediately said, "Welcome to my Velvet Room," which kind of is a weird thing. And the Velvet Room generally isn't a place where you feel imprisoned. And I know he said it reflects the user's heart, but at the same time, it's not supposed to imprison the person as soon as they get in.
Well, I
Right.
mean, even after strikers, you're still technically in the jail cell anyway. So yes, his heart is still
Which which I find to be just like I find it to be bullshit. Like
If
it's like
after,
this is a third fucking time.
well, if you count, if can't say it's the third time, technically it's the second time.
No, because in Royal you're back in the jail cell.
Oh my
well, I
Like
mean,
gosh.
after
Royal is just the remake of the first game, so I wouldn't really count it as a separate game.
Yeah,
right.
it's the same universe. Oh, don't, if
I
it's a spoiler thing, then don't mention it.
it's not a spoiler. It's just you. All right, when you're fighting Ealdabaoth and you're out of the jail cell,
What you talking about? There's no such thing as what all the you talking about?
What?
the Holy Grail from
That's its
5,
name.
the final boss.
Yeah, that's what
I
it's
forgot
No,
what
called.
that's the name.
That's
I
what it's
forgot its
called.
Yeah,
name. My bad. I was,
Ealdabaoth.
yeah, I forgot it was
All right,
named that.
right. So and you're out of the jail cell, but then Royal starts, like the actual Royal storyline starts, and then reasons, and now you're back in the jail cell, and you're like, what the deuce? And there you go.
Well, basically, the game sets with every time you go back into jail cell means something's happening. Something's
Yeah,
happening. That's all it is.
Okay. So, fair enough. Um, it's weird, but at the same time, whatever. I don't necessarily like the whole Igor, the evil Igor plot point, because it was kind of somewhat obvious. A lot of the villains in Persona 5 were fairly obvious.
Of course, because they were intentionally evil. Like the only one that which wasn't really evil but was just angry all the time was Makoto's sister.
Yeah. And I mean, you could see the villain from a mile away, especially Pancake Boy.
Well, no, they intentionally set up who the second to last villain of P5 was. You knew it but see, that's why I liked him because they set him up from the start to be the villain.
Yeah.
And so it's like just like how in 3 they already said that they have to do this to stop the midnight thing, and then they find like, oh, Nyx is what's causing it, and that was interesting to learn that way. 4 was just like, hey, yeah, random TV does stuff, and TV makes a bunch of horny boys.
I think I like
like,
the whole betrayal plot point in 3 more than I like 5,
The
because
betrayal.
it
Oh,
was
you mean
all a lie.
when Mr.
catch?
Ikutsuki,
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the funny part is we all saw it coming. It was just like, dude, you're pretty obvious that you're going to heel face on us. It's not even funny.
yeah,
Honestly, I wasn't sure, only because he just kept throwing those stupid ass puns. Even
Mm.
e- even no, even no, even when he was alone, he was still like doing puns, and it's like it's like he wasn't really like doing anything to like help you in battle, but he was still like
he was just
on
there.
your side.
He was
Yes.
Actually, in Royal, they expanded that more when you do his social links.
no. We were talking about
Like,
Wait,
Ikutsuki.
yeah, in P3.
oh, P3. Oh, my mistake. Sorry.
Yeah. So
It's,
what?
oh, I mean, a P5. Like I knew from the moment I saw the intro when I first booted up the game, because the guy wasn't in the intro, but I saw him on the box art, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"You're
yeah.
gonna betray me."
They say at the
Okay.
very beginning one of your team members betrayed you. I'm
That's
like,
right. Yes, it did set up that way from the start. Okay, so in P3, I mean, I was suspicious of him as well, just because it's like, dude, you're trying too hard. That's how I felt when I saw him. Like he's going to betray me at some point,
I
and he did betray me.
I felt like he was supposed to be that one adult in the story who was supposed to be on your side, and then boom,
You
he's
know who would have been a really surprising heel face? I would have really respected the story for it. Mitsuru.
because she's the princess of the Kirijo group.
Yes, where she's
That's
like, I would if she had heel face turn and betrayed you in that game, I would have taken a hit. I'm like, damn, I didn't expect it. I
I
thought you were trying to stop your father's problems. No, you're trying to actually control it. That would have been a very interesting
see.
heel face if
Okay,
they did something like that.
that would be interesting, but since I actually like the character, I would appreciate it more if it was like, yeah, she betrays you, but she's still like,
tries to redeem herself.
it's like more or less good during like is like she's really like if she really believes that this is the way to save the world and betrays you, that kind of thing,
Yep,
and
and then
then
to make matters even worse, at the first time when she betrays you, the person who actually makes the betrayal happen first is Igus, because that's Igus was made by her company.
yes,
I mean, that's technically what happened during the original betrayal. Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Ikutsuki overrode Aegis and made her capture everyone. But I feel like if Mitsuru was the traitor, it would be a huge impact, like right on the heels of what's his name, Shinjiro dying. Big
Yeah.
spoiler:
yeah,
Shinji dies.
Well, on that's if you're playing the male route.
He still dies, but he just comes back in the
No, in the
female
female
route.
route, he doesn't die though. I thought he survived
No,
at
he
the end.
dies and then he comes back. He's
no,
No.
no, no,
he's in
no,
the
no.
hospital or something.
If
If you
yeah,
romance
yeah,
him, if you don't romance him, he still dies.
Oh, okay. I never played Paul, but I thought they kept him alive. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
and I'm trying
but
to remember in
that was a weird thing because you could
right
also
and
romance Ken.
That's creepy.
Yeah,
That is beyond
yeah,
creepy. Although you know what, to be fair, that was as creepy as trying to date Futaba in 5.
I feel like
that's
Futaba is roughly the same age as the protagonist in Persona 5. So
No, she's younger, but the problem is she has the mentality of a child because of the trauma
and
she's
she's
gone
basically your
through.
sister.
she's not
So
basically his sister. I feel like a lot of people feel like it's weird, but I feel like a lot of
no,
16-year-olds date 14-year-olds.
it's not that. It's just the fact that
Mm,
she had the mentality of a child is why I was. That's why I felt it thing because literally she's this kid that has been trauma laden, hasn't been able to actually grow up, and really is now coming out of the trauma and slowly building up, and just to jump into a relationship just felt weird.
Right.
actually, here's a question,
Yes.
Drakon, uh, who'd you romance?
Oh, the doctor, of course. No, no, I'm saying no, no, no. The first time the teacher, just to get the special Valentine's Day extra line from what's his name,
From who?
Futaba's dad.
Oh, Sojiro.
Oh, Sojiro.
Sojiro gives you a special Valentine's line if you get the teacher.
Oh, I didn't
Wait, what
know
does he
that.
say?
Yeah, he's like, wait, I didn't realize that actually happened in real life. The fact that you got the teacher.
Oh.
honestly, I liked Makoto. I romanced her.
So
She
basically, in Royal, I romanced Makoto because the game was setting you up to date Makoto anyway. Like
It's been doing that since the first one.
since the first one, like the scenes in that basically were trying to set you up with Makoto. That's how the game was trying to. The same way how like in
right.
Q3, it was trying to set you up with Yukari. Was it Yukari? What's the name?
Yeah, it was Yukari.
Yukari. So yeah, again, and then
She is
Persona 4
such
trying to
a
set you
bitch
with
in FPS.
Yukiko.
Say what?
So could you repeat that?
Oh, Yukari is such a bitch in the P3 FPS.
Okay, so I'm
I
going
guess
to explain why that was a thing because it's a source of contention within the Persona 3 community. So essentially, imagine you've gotten to know somebody over the course of a whole year, your best friends, possibly even lovers, and then they do something so selfless that they die and they sacrifice themselves so that everyone else can be okay. Well, basically he's the Messiah. But And she is a 16-year-old girl who has to deal with these feelings of grief and anger and all of this. And then this random robot who's barely known this guy for so long inherits his powers. And then
Not
you
a
find
random robot.
it's pretty much a random robot. It is an android who has barely known this kid from her perspective, and then inherits his powers, and then they all find out that they can use time travel and they can possibly bring this guy back. How else would you act?
I think it's a bit more than that as well. I really feel that with Yukari, she's also pretty vulnerable in the sense that she's lost so many like people who's very close to her in her life that
Yes.
she also gets affected because like literally you saw the impact of her losing her dad had on her throughout Persona 3 itself.
And she lost her dad 10 years prior to Persona 3.
Yep.
So imagine how she's dealing with losing her boyfriend or best male friend, whatever. And then it, and this is only like a month later, not even a month later after the fact. Person, the last person with this guy was Aegis. The person who inherits his power is Aegis. Now there's a way to bring him back, possibly. And this same robot says, no, we can't do that. So, of course, she's going to get mean. She's going to be testy. She's going to be closed off from everyone because she is not emotionally mature enough to handle this wild situation. And I understand that. Oh wow, she's mean and grumpy and whatever. But come on, how can you possibly deal with the death of someone super close to you and not feel like so angry with everything? Because she's definitely angry with the world. She's lost two people who were very close to her, and she was just healing from the death of her parent, and now she has
Yep.
to deal with the death of someone else close to her. In fact, she had to deal with the death of Shinjiro maybe 4 months prior.
And then also the fact that the teacher figure, the adult there also betrayed them as well.
It's a lot of trauma for her to work through. And while the other people are handling it in their own ways, they're also kind of jerky too.
Unless you're
Akihiko is always
Akihiko.
Akihiko don't give a crap about anything. He just want to fight.
Yeah, that's how Akihiko is. He just punch stuff. That he's good.
And Mitsuru realized that Yukari was dealing with all of this, and that's why she said, "Hey, I'll fight with you. I'm on your side." Because back when Mitsuru's father died, Yukari went to Mitsuru and basically said, "Hey, I know what it's like to lose a parent. I've got your back through this, even though we don't always see eye to eye." So
Right, and that's
that's
all.
that.
Right, and yeah, I get that, but the problem with Yukari is that she's not really trying to get it from Aegis's perspective, because Aegis, her literal one directive, like what she thought was her reason for being, was to protect this kid who she forced the aspect of death into, and try to save his life. But he dies. Now she basically has no purpose. To the point where all of her regrets coalesce into a wholly different split personality from her, and now she has to deal with all this grief and this other person. And it's like Yukari didn't try to see things from like her side.
Yeah, but you're saying that as an adult and someone who has a fully, completely solidified brain in one way to speak. If you're thinking like a teenager who is still going through puberty, still doesn't have a fully formed, I don't want to say fully formed brain. Her brain is fully formed, but a lot of teenagers don't have the same kind of empathy and um emotional thought that we as adults have. Sometimes they do, and majority of the time they don't. She's not going to look at it from the robot's perspective because at this point, Aegis is the robot, and she really shouldn't have to because she's also grieving,
Right,
and
but
grief
here's the
makes
thing.
people act like jerks.
Right, here's the thing. You keep saying the robot, but Igus has been there for like half the game, and she's been through like how much shit with them.
That's
She was
true.
right there next to them, fighting the moon.
That's true. She
Well,
was,
moon adjacent.
yes, right. She was there, but at the same time, for a good, let's see, she joined up in around August or so, and then they forgot about each other for another after January. So from August to January 31st, that's 5 months. And then another 3 months into March, where they don't know each other, and Aegis is basically stalking them. Aegis remembers everything. Kari does not. So there's 3 months where they aren't really even talking to each other.
But yeah, but then they all remember.
Then they all remember, but there's still 3 months unaccounted for. So there's 5 months that they've been acquainted with Aegis, but then there's a whole year that Yukari, Junpei, and the protagonist have been friends. Because even then, they still managed to be friends and live in the same dorm and all of that. Like, I get that you don't like the way Yukari was acting, but at the same time, grief. And I'm looking at it from 100% her perspective. Aegis is the robot. Aegis has been acting in all of the answer. Aegis has been acting colder than usual. And that's because
It
the
became Metis.
yes,
I think her
Metis
name was.
was essentially all of Aegis's emotions. So Yukari was, kind of out of pocket, but at the same time it's not really fair to say that she was the worst character or this or she was that, because if you look at it from that way, it was mostly grief that was driving her actions. That's all I have to say about Yukari.
Oh, Yukari.
I mean, in general, she has a crappy attitude. Let's be real.
That's
But
how
at the
she
same
is. I
time,
mean,
that's how she is.
es-
She's
especially
closed
when the
off.
world. To be fair, it's also we all know that's mostly because of the fact that the world blames her dad for causing this thing. Well, not the world, but anyone who knows blames her dad for causing the midnight hour.
Right.
Right.
Dark hour.
Dark hour. I say midnight
Right.
hour for
I feel like the midnight something is for Persona 4, but whatever.
midnight channel. There
Midnight
we go.
channel. There
That's
you
what I
go.
was mixed up. Midnight channel
I
is
think the Midnight Hour is like some sort of like I think it's like in a song or a poem or
technically.
something.
I am not wrong. It is technically the midnight hour as well
It
because
happens
it's
between midnight and 12:01.
yeah, and
Right.
it lasts for an hour usually. Am
Yes.
I mistaken about? Yeah.
No,
So
you're
that's why.
correct.
I'm technically correct. I'm just mixed up terms with Persona 4.
That's fine. But
P4.
I
He.
don't have a boss that I think is the worst. I
I.
I like
Hmm.
them, but oh, also you said something about Izanami and her motives. Her motives were basically to end humanity by constantly bringing the fog. When she finished
Yeah.
with Inaba, she would go on to the next town and then the next town and then the next town and
But
continue
what? But the
doing that.
thing is, this though is like you only really find it out at the end of the game
Yeah.
when you finally reach the dungeon. But like you don't really see her like being hinted throughout the rest of the game, and that's why I felt the disconnect happening. It's like I hate when villains come out of left field, like the final at the end. I like them being sprinkled in where you can tell there's something more sinister going on than is being let on.
So
Actually,
I want
actually, here's a
go
question.
ahead.
In Persona 4, because you go up to the gas station attendant, and then she reveals herself, and then she unleashes more fog. So what if you had just left? Which you
Then
just
the
Then it will
fog will have
start
come
getting
back
foggy.
eventually.
Yeah, it will start getting foggy again.
Yeah,
Actually,
because you didn't
that's
actually.
one of the endings. There are three-ish endings.
Yeah, because basically you didn't defeat the real final boss. You just defeated the fake one that everyone wanted you to think was the real final boss.
Right. So here are the endings. Basically, before you even get to Akechi, not Akechi, Adachi.
Adachi.
They're both
Cult.
bad guys and they both shoot people. I don't care.
But you know what? I found Adachi more enjoyable because you could tell Adachi was a bad guy from the start. The moment when Adachi was first introduced, I'm like, he's a bad guy. I didn't even have to guess. I'm like, he's a bad guy,
He's
and
chewing the
I was
scenery and pretend and throwing up all the time, and I'm like, okay, we'll see.
trying to be dumb. Yep.
Oh, actually, just a little side comment. I would not mind if they did some weird like spin-off with those two,
Who?
Adachi and Akechi.
Isn't Akechi dead?
Um.
Okay, don't answer it. I'll find out.
Um. Who knows?
Yeah, good answer. Anyway, yeah, that'd be cool, but whatever. I so that one of the endings with Persona 4 is if you make the wrong choice when it comes to the person who's actually been throwing people in the TVs the whole time, um, you can decide to throw him into the TV, and
Right.
that's automatic bad ending.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's the fake person. Because I mean, yeah, that was one of the things.
He's
I mean,
wrong, but he's not
well,
necessarily. Go ahead.
I mean, it was him, but he wasn't like trying to hurt anyone. In fact, he was
He was
trying
Trying
to
to
trying to
save
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 them.
people.
them, but
Yeah, he was mistaken.
yeah. So that choice is basically what separates a good ending from a bad ending. If you throw him in
Actually,
the go ahead.
oh no, you finish.
If you throw him in the TV, um, Nanako dies. Nanako is the
Yes.
little sister character in the game. It's actually the protagonist's little cousin, but still little sister of the game.
It's a little sister. That except the only creepy part is that I want to marry you when I grow up, and I was like, oh
I feel like
no.
that's a weird thing in like Japanese media where a little kid is like, I want to marry you when I grow up.
I'm like, no, no, no.
But
It's like she's way too like good. It's weird.
Although to be fair, her dad is a horrible father. I'm sorry.
yeah, he's a bad father. That's the whole point of his social link, for him to realize that he's been neglecting his daughter and he's been focusing too much on trying to find his wife's killer. His wife was killed in a drunk driving accident or some such.
Yeah,
Hit and run, that's the thing. But yeah, so Nanako dies, everything the fog intensifies and you leave town. You can cover up Adachi's involvement and go show him the note that you found or something like that. And he'll be like, "Oh, so you're my partner now," or some crap like that. Nice to know that we're partners, partner. All right, leave Inaba now. And the protagonist leaves because it's his last day there. And the fog is intensified.
in Gold, if I recall correctly, there's a route where you can choose to join Adachi. If I recall correctly.
That's basically the ending of that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Actually, what's weird? It's like always strikes me as weird. Um, the first victim, the news anchor lady, I believe,
Yeah.
she get she gets thrown in. The the patsy calls the cops, and he just happens to get Adachi.
It's
Like,
possible.
yeah, but it's like of all the people, like of all the cops, Adachi's the one that picks up the phone.
It's
Like
possible.
even like even he admits that, like it was a complete coincidence,
I
and it
mean, to
started
be
all of this.
fair, this is a town police. They might not have that many people there.
It could have been manipulation from Izanami,
Well,
whatever.
yeah,
Is Izanami here? Oh,
well,
Inazami. It's Izanami.
might as well be,
It
but
probably was because, in fact, there were three lights in the sky when the protagonist first managed to get his persona, and I think those three lights represented him, Adachi, and The guy who
Yeah,
threw
the
people in the TVs. I forgot
yep.
his name. Namatame.
Namatame, yeah, because all three of them had basically got their own Izanagi, more or
Yeah,
less. The only
Right.
thing is that Namatame never actually summoned his compared to the other two.
right. So yeah, it's a weird, stupid plan. I think Adachi is probably one of the better villains of the
Yes,
series.
I completely agree. I love the fact that Adachi intentionally plays it off that he's just this bumbling fool the whole time, and you just realize how much he's masterminded behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's pretty much responsible for most of the deaths there, except for King
Yep.
Moron. That one kid killed King Moron.
Yeah, because well, no one cared about King Moore, and it was fine.
Um,
Although I still love the fact that in the new game plus, I was able to have enough courage at the start of the game to tell King Morin off.
yes, always do New Game Plus, guys. You get to do things you couldn't do earlier.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
what was it? Persona 5, dodging the chalk, which you can't do in the first playthrough from the teacher who throws it at you.
Oh well, I mean that's less of a thing, but yes,
Well, that
similar
time,
concept.
that
Although I
time,
would say this now, Persona 5 is still that game where I refuse to do New Game Plus. And that's because I can't deal with those dungeons again. I do the dungeon once and I'm done. I can't do that dungeon again.
that's fair. Also, you
Mm.
can dodge it later on in the first playthrough.
Yeah, if you have it
Yeah,
high enough
yeah.
stats in it, but
Right. But the first time it
Yeah,
happens, you can't
yeah.
dodge it.
yeah, because the stats are
And it's
too
like,
low. But
and this was like the first week you were in that school, and it's like, oh my god, instant street cred.
yeah, that's how it goes. I still say it's like I don't know. As much as I enjoy Persona 5's dungeons, some of them are just too long that I just don't want to go through them a second time. I'm like, please. Especially and the one well, thankfully they fixed Haru's Zone, which is the space one, which was far more bearable than the base Persona 5. But I think they made what's his face the final boss, well, not final boss, but the final
Um,
guy boss, his dungeon I think they made worse in Royal. From my personal
I,
view, I think his dungeon was
how's
less
his name?
annoying in base Persona 5.
What's his name? Shido's.
Yeah, Shido, I think Shido's dungeon in base Persona 5 was less annoying than the Royal version.
Why? Do you still get turned into mice?
Yes, you still get turned into mice,
I'm never
but
playing Royal.
yeah, the mice thing is
Oh,
still
so
there.
dumb.
Although I will still say that Akechi's dungeon is still too damn long. Oh my god, that dungeon is long.
Akechi's dungeon.
Oh,
Well, well, technically it's not his dungeon, but basically the one where he in quotation marks dies in.
Oh, that's still part of Shido's part.
Yeah,
yeah,
is
Yeah,
that
yeah, it is.
Yes, you're right. Yes, that is part of
it's
Shido's
it's
part. You're
it's still
correct.
on the ship.
Yeah, Shido's dungeon is just too long in general. You're completely correct.
It's insane. You have to fight like 4 or 5 mini bosses, and
Yep.
then you gotta fight Akechi's 2 forms.
Yes. After going through a maze that's just honestly bullshit.
Yeah,
And
so basically, it's basically what you call it. You go to the ring and you go back to back to back.
It's interesting because this is the first Persona since 2 where someone other than the main protagonist can use multiple personae.
Or multiple forms. Well, funny enough, Adachi could have been able to do that if he actually tried.
It's possible, yes.
Yeah, because
yeah,
they all had the same power. Adachi just chose to be like, well, I don't need to develop this. I just have this. I throw people in, and that's as far as I go.
I
The
do
the
think it depends on the person's arcana, doesn't it?
well, I mean,
Oh wait,
okay,
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, because in 2 they all had different arcana, and and after from 3 on they just started referring to the power to change personae
as the fool,
as the wild card
no, the
actually.
the wild
yeah,
card. Yes, correct. But they all have like full arcana, and they all summon one of the full arcana.
Yeah, but Akechi was justice, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he still had the same power in my view. Like he got the same type of persona from what's her face is Anami. So I suspect he had the same potential. It's
Oh,
just the fact that
I was talking about Akechi, not Adachi. Adachi was Jester or something, or and then
uh,
Hunger.
okay, my mistake.
Right.
Akechi was justice. You're correct. But Akechi had a similar power to you because he was what I think he was chosen by. No. She
Yes.
was.
He was chosen by
Um.
the Holy Grail.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
He was chosen by the
And
Holy Grail, and Igor chose would have chosen Joker, but
no. They were both chosen by the same Holy Grail. It's
For
just
for
that
for, for
it's just
good
that
and bad.
Akechi got his powers first.
quote right, and around that time, Akechi quote won the game, and that's
Well,
why quote Igor tried to kill you.
basically, how it goes is that, as he was saying throughout the whole game, the Holy Grail is just rigging it in his favor. So he intentionally made Akechi
Yeah,
start first just to rig the game in his favor.
because Akechi got his persona about 2 years prior to the story.
Yep, and
Right.
that's why he was the person who was going in and doing these type of things throughout those 2 years, and no one realized what was happening because it was just like sporadic.
Imagine a 14-year-old killing you.
Embarrassing and
Imagine a
terrible.
14-year-old basically capturing something that's supposed to be your prize and then making you have a change of heart all of a sudden. So
I
you
mean,
admit your deepest, darkest secrets to the world.
I mean, they're 16, so I feel like that's a little more acceptable to get beat up by a 16-year-old.
But still, the fact is that the 16-year-old has convinced you your real life self because it basically captured what your metaphysical self considers to be its prize.
Yeah, well, it's mostly metaphysical manipulation in so they're forcing you to believe that you have to admit all of your faults. It's cancel culture, but magical.
Magical cancel culture. What has the world become?
If you think about it, it really is like I mean, all of those people were detestable. Let's be real.
Oh, I mean
Yeah.
that's the game intentionally made it that way. Like each one of them was a scummy, except for Makoto's sister. She's the only one that wasn't scummy. She
Oh
just
yeah,
was.
and
She was on the
oh
path to becoming scummy.
Well,
right,
I
and
think that
what's her name? Um, shoot. Pyramid.
Futaba.
Yes.
well, Futaba's zone was a mental thing that was put in her mind by the bad guys.
It was a distortion that was kind of they manipulated her into thinking that she was the cause of her own mother's death.
So
Yeah.
it is most likely probably someone similar to Akechi, if not Akechi, probably went into her head and messed up her mind that way.
No, they tell the story in the dungeon itself that
Oh, they do, right?
yeah, the mother essentially was her shadow was killed, and when her shadow was killed, she had a breakdown, and
Died in the
she
streets.
died in the street in front of Futaba, and that messed her up. Then with
Right,
the
right.
terrible family members and the government, like not the government, but people who were associated
Basically,
with
government.
the government. Government officials went there and essentially told her and their family that it was Futaba's fault. Futaba kind of retreated into herself. Her uncle took custody of her and abused her, and then Sojiro stepped in and became her guardian.
Yep,
Right.
rescued her from a horrible family life.
And then that was that issue. But I find it interesting that when she eventually um I guess unlocked her persona, it was in a similar way to the protagonists, the team in Persona 4, if you think about it.
Well, she overcame his struggles. She found her inner self.
Right, she accepted her inner self and dealt with that rather than a specifically rebellious nature as like the rest of her team, and I
I
don't
just
think she's
realized
ever.
something.
What's up?
Persona 4 protagonist is you who never really earned his persona.
No, it was given to him.
He was just given to him. I just realized that. For
Like
everyone else, they have
every
to earn it in some way, shape, or form.
yeah, but at the same time, he was pretty much secure enough in himself to accept who he is as a person. Like he's such a blank slate that there isn't anything that he hates about himself.
That's it.
It's true if you think about it. He's such a blank slate that there's nothing about him to hate about himself. Whereas Yosuke
It's
hates the
true.
fact that he's in a small town and he wants more action, but it feels like kind of jerk thing to say. Hey, I want action in this small town, and I'm a big dude. Everybody here is boring, and Chie wants to dominate everybody. Feels bad about that because she's a girl.
I already said it. She and Yusuke probably got together by the end of that game.
Yosuke, no,
It seemed that's what the game seemed to be setting them up. That those two together.
she was more interested in Yukiko.
Oh, that too.
But what was Kanji's issue? Oh yeah, he had very
He was.
feminine interests.
It's
Right.
not only that. It's also the fact that for him, he wasn't sure about his
Sexuality.
sexuality. So because he was attracted to Naoto, that also affected his mental state as well.
Right. And we're not gonna say definitively what Kanji's sexuality is because I don't care, and it
He's already
doesn't matter.
bisexual. It doesn't really
It
matter.
doesn't matter, and I don't care. It was more of he was insecure about his interests and the fact that he was interested in Naoto, who presented herself as a man to get more respect in law enforcement.
Yes, because
Right.
that job is predominantly male, and people weren't respecting her by believing that she was female,
Not just female, but also a child.
a child. Yeah, and I remember that was like the biggest sigh of relief in Kanji's life. It's like, oh, thank God.
But he also has interests like
It's
sewing
very
and making toys for children and stuff.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's
he learned that from his mom.
right, and it goes against all of
his
his
manly
belief,
persona.
not just his manly persona, but his view of what makes someone masculine.
Yep.
And
I
honestly,
sorry, go ahead.
hey, real quick, it's like it was such a Zap Brannigan moment because there was that episode of Futurama where Leela was pretending to be a man to get into the military to save Fry and Bender, and Zap, who's always been in love with Leela, or well, in lust with her, was lusting after
Lee Lemon,
Lee. Yes, and they thought he was, and it was just messing up the entire episode until the big reveal. It's Leela, and he's like, "Oh, thank God!" You have no, and this is after, and it's after she beats the shit out of him. And
right?
like he's bloody beaten, but he's so relieved.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense. It's in his case, it's like, oh gosh, no, I can't have feelings for another man. Oh God, it's a woman. Thank God. That's literally how his view was.
But yeah,
Nah,
Now, see, for me, the funnier part of Persona 4 for that was when they got their medical exams and Teddy was reading it off, and Teddy was like, "Whoa, Naoto, I can't believe that," and it was like, "Oh God, she has the biggest rack size out of all of them."
basically, it's been alluded to that Naruto is the curviest, I guess,
Most in doubt. That's just what happened.
and bunch of reasons being that she'll never show up in she'll never they'll never show her with a bikini on, whereas Rise is like bikini all the time. I'm a flirt with everybody.
Well, to be fair,
Well, she only flirts with
that's
the protagonist, but yeah.
to be fair. She's an idol.
Yes.
She's done that enough times in her life that for her it's like,
This is like breathing, basically.
yeah. And the protagonist she's flirting with because the protagonist is that first person who never really treated her as the
But an
idol
idol.
and more for herself, and that's where the attraction happened. And I mean, I knew that she more or less was like that thirsty person who's just like, take me. I'm like, oh God, no,
Yeah.
no.
But I also kind of find it funny because I feel like the protagonist is just so uninterested with everything going on around him, that he just didn't particularly care that Rise is an idol.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's just how he is.
And
You're completely correct that he is a blank slate compared to the ones in 3 and 5. He feels more blank slates than those two.
right,
Because at least in 5, his motive is the fact that he really wants revenge on Shido for destroying his life. Um,
it's
and
not
in
even that
3,
he wants revenge. He just
well, not
kind
only
of
revenge,
wants to
but
live his life quietly.
he wants to live his life, but he can't because basically Shido screwed his life over. You're correct, my mistake. And then in 3, I mean, you did start with a bit of a blank slate yourself, but after experiencing what the world was, your character changes a bunch.
He kind of just goes along with it until he finds out that, hey, I think I have to do this thing to save the world.
Yes,
Because if you
he's
notice how uninterested he is with everything that was happening around him, he doesn't even notice the dark hour and all the coffins nearby. He's just walking down the street.
no, he was like probably this is probably the fat of this new town since he just came in and it's the first time it happened.
Yeah, but also like after the first big battle, like when he first manages to summon his persona, he sees a girl pointing a gun object at her head and firing, and just like picks it up and says, "Hey, I'll do it too." And he's already cool with dying because apparently he witnessed his parents' deaths, and a robot put the personification of actual death in his head. Now he has like this midget talking to him that nobody else can see.
Yes,
He
and the
has
Hey,
midget
his
makes
they're
some kind
called
of
little
contract.
people.
This is quite literally him as a child. And I call all children midgets. So yes, a small person who is actually him, but also the personification of death, speaking to him, then it turns into a large version of him, but with darker hair that's slicked back, and they're best friends, and also voiced by the same guy. By the way, Yuri Lowenthal voices too many people in the Persona series.
Well, I mean, your Lorenthal gets paid to do that.
I know. I'm somewhat glad that he's not in Persona 5, as far as I can tell.
I mean,
Because,
is he voice acting still? I don't
yes, he's
know.
still voice acting
Yes, he's Spider-Man.
Spider Man in the games. Um, he voiced protagonist for P3. Um, Ryoji from P3. Ryoji is the alias that Thanatos goes under.
Yes.
Um,
Well, it's not Thanatos. It's the whole thing. It's like
yeah, I know. It's
this
it's it's
thing.
it's the avatar of death. Literally the avatar.
Yeah, it
Yet
just
we
happens
still
to
have.
look like Thanatos.
Yet they still have the Reaper.
Oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about the Reaper.
Yeah,
So the Reaper is a mechanic based that's in Persona 3, 4, and 5. And if you stay in a specific part of a well, not a specific part. If you stay in a dungeon way too long, usually 5 to 10 minutes, the Reaper will come after you. That time is split somewhat if you have a dead party member in Persona 3. Doesn't matter in Persona 4. The Reaper can just pop out of a treasure chest in Persona 4. Um, Persona 5, if you just
if you
stay on a
linger on a floor too long.
if
Yeah,
you linger on a floor too long in any of them, the Reaper's coming after you. But
Yep.
specifically in 5,
Only mementos, because it doesn't happen in the
right.
regular dungeons.
In 5 it's only in mementos. Um but there's a
if you
mechanic in
don't,
Persona 5 during flu season where you can give it where you can encounter the Reaper with a flu,
Oh yeah, it was so broken.
and you can beat it and get a ton of experience, which I abused.
Royal has it just as easy. Although he's no longer affected by flu, Royal just makes it so much easier for you to level up and do more damage. And I cheesed the Reaper when I was because I got to like level 70 something really early in Royal, and I just cheesed the Reaper to get to level 99.
So what I basically did was in 3 there's also an exploit where you if you have I think it's Satan and Lucifer, you can use Armageddon. And Armageddon is either a one shot kill or two shots, which is fine. Reaper doesn't have that much um, health, but it does hit hard. I actually recorded it. Put that on YouTube.
Actually, there is still a way to cheese the Reaper in Persona 5. It is I forgot what the exact thing it is. But basically you need to have, oh yes, how it is. You basically need to have a barrier that repels magic, and it will keep making the Reaper use Megadolan. And because Megadolan is non-attribute specific damage, it guarantees that the Reaper will never get a weakness that hits on you for an extra move, and you just keep healing up your party and keep doing that every turn. And so the Reaper's locked into Megadolan every turn.
Okay, that's cool. But
Yep,
also,
you
if
you
you just inflict despair on it, it won't
No,
do anything.
in Royal, it can't get affected by status effects, if I recall correctly. I believe all the
Wow.
status effects get locked out from it because of the flu
Because
thing.
of
They
yeah.
basically use status effects in Royal, but you can basically cheese it to prevent it from doing anything other than Megadolan, which means that it never gets that extra attack, which is what makes it more powerful. And so that's how you cheese the Reaper.
Don't fear the Reaper, I guess. But yeah, so Reaper, uh big don't stay in one place mechanic by Persona series.
Until Royal, where you just intentionally want to farm the Reaper just, oh, Persona 5 just, so you just farm the Reaper so you can just level up really fast.
Yep. But at the
Yep.
same time, I mean, it's a decent mechanic. It keeps people on their toes, but at the same time, it can fill them with dread if you start hearing the chains. Because before actually see the Reaper, one of your mission control buddies like, I sense death coming,
Yeah,
and then you'll
and then
start hearing chains rattling, and it gets louder the closer that it gets to you, right?
yep, that's how it goes. And that's Persona 3 and Persona 5. You hear the rattling. In 4,
Right.
it only shows up once you accidentally open that one chest that says, "Oh, the Reaper." Like, oh crap.
You can hear the rattling if depending on the chest.
That's true. But yeah. So the mechanic of the Reaper is that it only stays on one floor. So if you leave the floor, the Reaper disappears.
Right. It can still come back. Also, if you open too many chests in Persona 4, then can,
Well, that's the only way to get the Reaper in Persona 4. You have
yeah.
to open chests, too many chests. In 3 and 5, it was just staying too long.
In
Oh,
Golden though, you get the Reaper by time, I believe.
Oh, it's by time in as well in Gold. I thought Golden was also by chest.
Let me check real quick.
while you're doing that, just to point this out, the Reaper is in Strikers, but it's a super boss. It's not like a roaming thing.
Well, yeah, it's Dynasty Warriors. I didn't expect it to be roaming at that point. That would because I mean for Dynasty Warriors game you have to stay to farm to level up.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Persona 4, I'm just going to read it. The Reaper is an exclusive boss that can only be fought in the second playthrough of the game, where it can be found in trap chests during a second cycle. Upon examining it, the protagonist is forewarned that a powerful force dwells within the chest and repeatedly asked whether he is ready to open it. Should the protagonist choose to open it, the Reaper will attack the party and engage them in battle. Similar to its predecessor, the Reaper will the Reaper can be challenged multiple times as long as the protagonist manages to locate the treasure chest he dwells within. Defeating the Reaper, blah 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 blah, doesn't matter. And
Yeah, well, because in 4 it gives you the best weapons for your characters in the game.
right, Golden, the Reaper works the same way as the original Persona 4, except that it can be encountered on the first playthrough of the game. Okay, so it's still chests.
It's still chess, but it basically just puts it that you could fight him on the first playthrough as well. Okay.
In order to make it spawn, the protagonist has to open a total of 21 chests. Should this number of chests be reached, the sound of rattling chains will echo throughout the dungeon. So you still get the
Right.
chains.
So they changed how the Reaper spawns. In base Persona 4, it was just he was in a chest and he attacks you. In this one, in Golden, it was a certain number of chests you have to open up while on the floor or thing, and then he appears on that floor.
Right. Also, I know we're not supposed to talk about the anime, but there was a scene in the Persona 4 anime where like Adachi basically summons 3 Reapers to attack the party or something like that.
Reapers at once. Oh my lord, that must be scary. One is hard enough.
No, you don't even get it. So Kanji and Naoto fought one. Chie, Yukiko, and Rise fought one, and Yosuke and Teddy fought one.
I call BS in that. The Reaper's too powerful for
Yeah.
two
Right.
characters to fight at once.
Yep.
Oh, it gets better. So I think at this point, I think the protagonist had like this weird he was going into this weird despair while they were fighting, and essentially Margaret decided to fight the protagonist while this was
Oh, it
going
wasn't.
on.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't then. It was around the time for Izanami.
Okay. But that was weird. I didn't really like it because they made protagonist fight Margaret randomly. Just randomly fight her.
Yeah.
And it was like a wake up call kind of fight. Like, hey, you're better than this. Now fight back. And he used Izanagi. And bro, Izanagi would get washed by Margaret. You need to stop.
I mean, unless it's Persona 4 Golden Izanagi where he's maxed out with all the various skill cards.
This was Persona 4 Vanilla the animation.
Oh yeah, no. Izanagi would have gotten wiped. Unless he was suddenly channeling his inner no Okami form, he would have gotten wiped.
Nope, base form Izanagi.
Yeah, no Okami form is broken as hell. The fact is just one move that insta kills the boss. Myriad of Truths. It does nothing else except Myriad of Truths, and you instantly die from it.
I liked the final boss, not for necessarily the mechanics, but like, you know how at the end there's always something that happens, like in Persona 3, the protagonist goes to the moon to fight the actual Nyx and gets the crap kicked out of him until everybody believes in him and like doesn't get hurt by Nyx anymore. Whereas in 4, Izanami or whatever it's called just starts launching.
Insta killing your party.
Yeah, just starts insta killing, but they're all aimed at the protagonist, and everybody pushes the protagonist out of the way and dies.
And then he gets caught into it, and then all his social links basically awaken him his full power.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
There's
then
something about the whole social link thing where you get to hear from them,
and in P5, it's
Right.
Spirit Bomb.
right.
Yeah.
Everybody believes in the Phantom Thieves, and then
It's like Phantom Thieves, and then your whole thing goes past 100, and then suddenly you summon Satan with a gun.
yep,
Yeah.
Satana
Actually, what's
Yell.
weird, and if you don't do any of the social links, instead of that Mishima kid from your class, it's literally some guy inspired, just gets everybody all hyped up, cheering for you, and no one else says anything.
Okay,
So-
so it's basically like Mass Effect 3 then, where if the characters die off, they just give these random generics that do stuff instead.
Something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah,
either way,
it's a
I-
thing.
Yeah, but honestly, like that's the reason why I can't say that Ealdabaoth, the Holy Grail, is my least favorite final boss. Like, there were issues, but the way you beat him, like, come on, like summoning a devil angel to shoot him in the face. I mean, to me, that's pretty cool.
Well, see, I'm doing more than just the battle itself. I'm also talking about plot in terms of how
Right.
was the villain presented, how did it end, and it really is just like for me, I found 4 and 5 being like the weakest ones because they really didn't give the villain enough development. In my view, the final villain. I mean, like when the second or third to last villain feels more like a final boss than the final villain itself, I think you didn't do your job right in your game.
That's
Honestly,
fair.
like when you're done, like honestly, when you're done with Strikers, like let me know, and I will tell you exactly my problem with that final boss with one word.
Understood. I mean, because like for example, I felt Shido felt more like a final boss than the final boss of 5.
It was personal.
It was
It
personal.
was.
And
And
the fact that Shido was manipulating everyone for so many years just so he can get all this power just makes it feel like a definitive ending when you beat him. Not to mention he
Yeah.
had multiple form power ups as well because he
yeah,
went
what
from
the heck?
3 to 4 forms.
Which was the first form? Was it the muscle suit thing?
No, no,
Or
no. First form was him writing on a
The
lion made of
lion,
people.
okay,
yeah,
okay,
it
okay,
was the people line. The last form was the muscle suit, if I
okay.
recall correctly.
Yeah.
That I feel like
Actually, it
that's
was
my
a
favorite part of the
lion.
fight. It was a griffin kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
No,
So
no, it
that
was
sorry,
actually
go.
yeah. It was a sorry. It was a lion. Well, it was a lion, then a winged lion, then a pyramid, and then he's like, okay, what the fuck? Who are you? Wait, you're that guy? Fuck it,
Yeah.
final form. And he's like, and now he's this buff guy, and apparently more powerful. And
You
then he
know,
really freaks out and goes Red Hulk.
yeah, there we
Right,
go.
right.
And the reason why I enjoyed this more was because it basically brought the analogy back to Dragon Ball Z for me, where he was basically Frieza. He created his own final boss that defeats him. That's how I felt it was. Because Frieza destroying what do you
I'm
call it, Vegeta, and then eventually having Goku go to Earth, raise, and then come back eventually to defeat him in the end, basically means that Frieza caused his own destruction by destroying Vegeta in the first place.
correct.
Where and this is the
Wait, hold
same thing.
on. Wait. Do you mean the sun, the planet, or
You know
Vegeta?
he means the planet.
Yes, I know exactly where that's from, but yes. And then in this case, Shino set this kid up, which causes this kid to move to this new area where this whole plot happens. Because literally Shino creates his own defeat. And that's why I felt it's felt so much like Dragon Ball Z there, where it's just like, yeah, the villain creates his own protagonist that defeats him in the end anyway. And
Yeah.
and Persona 4 didn't have that. Adachi, like I mean, actually, Persona 4 did technically. He gave she gave him the power, and he used the same power to defeat her. But I mean, it's not the same. I felt Shido would have been a better final boss. Like if you gave me like a last form where Shido basically took Mementos' power into like a final form thing, and then that's when you had to summon thing to shoot him and kill him. I would have also liked that as a final battle instead of Holy Grail.
Maybe him fusing with the Holy Grail.
Yeah, but then it was still being Shido, and that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be Shido.
But they're not going to have them kill Shido. They want Shido to admit to his crimes. So what they would do is probably if they had to shoot Shido, it would probably separate him from the Holy Grail or something. I don't know. But in
I don't
general,
know. It's just how it is, and I mean, and I will tell you now, when you play Royal, when you finish Royal, Royal's new final boss is a step up in terms of plot and relevance, and it's just such a better writing fun ending.
okay.
Yes.
I would say that that's why I say Royal is the definitive Persona 5 in terms of the fact that this how they've done it. They just made a much better final villain.
Hmm. Oh, and thanks, Dr. Chorus, for
Difficult.
that gift sub.
Oh, you gifted me some subs, Doctor Chorus. Oh wait, no, this is Sunny's stream. Oh,
I mean, you should stream.
now I'm good. I'm not really into streaming. That's not me.
That's
Let's
fair.
see. Idiot pants for 3 months. Neat.
Congratulations, Idiot Pants. Now you can join us on the stream as well. Maybe not. I don't know.
Um, okay. I feel like we're at that point now.
Yeah, it's already like 4 o'clock by us. I think this is a good stopping point
Okay.
for SMT.
And thanks, Justin
Well,
Hill, for the stretch.
So in
actually,
conclusion, if you have
yeah,
to be
actually,
stuck inside a Persona, sorry, inside an SMT game, make sure it's a Persona game. At least you might have a happy ending.
You won't die.
maybe.
You won't die. Let's say it like that.
I mean, you have a better chance in Persona of having a happy ending than baseline SMT.
It's true.
That is true.
Also,
Actually,
if you
question.
oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it was actually kind of like a wrap up question, but your favorite demon or summon? What would you say that is? Demon summon persona.
Um, only for his one unique skill that just owns everything, Yoshitsune.
Okay.
12,
That's fair.
12 physical attacks.
I've already
That
said
is
mine.
true. What was it?
Black Frost.
Right. And I already said mine. Odin.
Right. There we go. That was quick.
Yep. Oh, right. One more thing.
Right.
If you end up trapped in an SMT game world, make sure it's not Digital Devil Saga.
Jesus.
Oh, come on. You know this DDS has like the darkest ending.
Yeah, that's why I said
We
Jesus Christ, no.
we didn't actually talk about it too much.
Oh
We
well.
talked a little bit about it, but basically the ending of DDS is the darkest of any of these games. Oh Lord, is that ending dark?
The sequel worked out pretty well, right?
there was
Or is that what?
the ending as in of the two games, because the second game is just the second half of it, the story.
Yeah.
Oh, uh,
Trust me, you would not want to be in DDS. I would rather be stuck in Devil Survivor than DDS, and that means I have a count in my head saying when I count them to death.
Well, as long as you have your
wait,
DS with you, you can summon demons.
wait. Actually, hold up. How does it done?
Basically, a set of people in Devil Survivor have this DS device.
No,
And
wait. Are you asking how Digital Devil Saga ends? In Crazy?
Yes, the second game. Yeah, the darkest ending. What is that?
Okay. Digital
go
Devil
ahead,
Saga. I don't remember,
Sonny.
dude.
Uh,
1902. Essentially, I remember the end of the first one, and essentially, all of the people in the first part are like programs, and they found out that there's a real world. Um, they go to the real world, and I'm pretty sure that one character betrays them, and the rest of the world sucks. Like it's of course another apocalyptic kind of thing.
yes, it's always Apocalypse. It's SMT.
Essentially, now the people who turn into demons and devour and devour people are in the real world, and there are some who are good and there are some who are bad. And they have an all-consuming hunger that makes them go crazy, and there's only one person who can calm them down from this all-consuming wild hunger, and she's a regular human from the regular world. I believe there's an organization that has control over everything, and that's the most. I don't know. Excuse me.
Anyway, we're heading over time
Yeah,
now, so.
the ending
Yeah,
sucks. Look it up on YouTube. Um, and I
But
guess
can it
that's it.
suck more than Trinity Soul?
We're not talking about that. We're ending it right now.
That's why I brought it up.
So yeah,
what about Devil Survivor the anime?
I
The
will.
animation.
I'm
Better than Trinity Soul.
going to raid somebody because I'm ignoring you both now.
I mean, if we talk the worst animes of anything SMT related, definitely the worst is guaranteed Trinity Soul. That's the
Yeah,
lowest of the lowest. Then the Devil Survivor one comes right above it because that one's also pretty bad.
there
Agreed.
was also a P5 animation. It's like it's it's like it all feels just too easy for them. Like,
I mean, the
everything
game was
wraps up
too
really
easy
quickly.
for them. If you
Yeah, but
think
easier
about
than
it,
that.
not a single person of the main cast of P5 actually died of the core cast because one of them betrays you and you knew he was going to betray you anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like, well, I guess for the animation, it's like the fights wrap up way too quickly, even for an anime.
Of course, the bosses never saw it coming.
Okay. That's it. I'm rating out.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
I mean, I had to end with that.
That's fine.
To be fair, Sheila never saw it coming either. We knew that.
So thank you everybody for listening in. Um that was the Shin Megami Tensei series. And yeah, that's it. Stay dope.
Play
Are
Strange
we doing it?
Journey and play Devil Survivor. You won't be you won't regret it. They're both good games, and they're both on
Yep.
Nintendo systems.
Right. Stay dope, y'all.
Wait, what are we doing next week?